Hello and happy Friday to all of you out there, wherever you are and whenever you may be watching. Tonight's WKMC TV broadcast is a Pennsylvania Heartland Athletic Conference matchup sponsored by Winnie the Pooh Preschool and Daycare, featuring the visiting Shikellamy Braves and your Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes. My name is Jim Lesko. Alongside me is my brother Dan. Jose Gonzalez supports us from the sideline, and together we're coming to you live from Jazz Diminick Stadium at the Silver Bowl in beautiful Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, on a crisp, I don't know if we'll say crisp yet, Dan. It's about 52 degrees out at kickoff here.
Nice chill in the air.
Yeah, beautiful October night. We've got kind of some excitement tonight here as we see you get started. It's senior night, which is always fun. And so, the seniors obviously won't be returning after this season. But we do have some returns. You think about, some of the best Star Wars movies, Return of the Jedi. Think about Lord of the Rings, right? Return of the King. But we've got two different returns going on the field tonight where we'll say, number one, it's the return to the Silver Bowl.
Yeah.
My goodness. I don't remember the last time we were back here. In reality, it's been about 3 weeks, but it feels longer. And in that span, the Red Tornadoes have gone 2-0. Nice win in Hughesville, followed up by a huge win last week against Southern Columbia over in Catawissa.
Yeah.
And then on the field, another return that we've got is number 11, Cole Spears, is returning into uniform tonight. Now, it's to be determined what his status will be, how much we'll play, what we'll see of him. But last week, in the absence of quarterback Matt Belichick, we saw freshman Gavin Marshall come in, Dan. And what did you see from Gavin last week, and maybe what do you think you might see from him tonight?
Well, what we saw from Gavin last week was efficiency, and we saw pretty much what you would expect from a freshman quarterback coming into a big game such as last week was. They didn't put too much on his plate. He only put the ball in the air 5 times, was 3 of 5 for 84 yards, but those 3 completions were big ones. They were tendency breakers. They kind of kept the Southern Columbia Tiger defense off balance a little bit, and they did a really good job. Coach Dara did a really good job of not putting too much on Marshall's plate. He didn't ask him to go out there and throw the ball 20 times and go out there and win the game. He pretty much told them, go out there, trust your offense, trust your O-line, and trust your backs. Give them the opportunity to make plays, and he did exactly what they asked him to do.
See, for the coin toss, we'll see the Braves offense first. Looks like from a captain standpoint, they sent out Isaiah Schaefer-Knights to number 2, number 4, Ethan Turbo Ortiz, 23. That was Luke Snyder. There's one more, so we'll get him in just a minute here. But Schaefer-Knights is going to carry a lot of the load for the Braves offensively tonight, Dan.
Yeah, Jim. I mean, looking at his season stats, he's carried the ball nearly 100 times, 94 carries so far on the ground, 534 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, he's definitely been the workhorse, and he usually lines up at the fullback position. If you see them in an I formation, he's the up back. But they do run a lot of wing split sets where it's almost like a wing T variation where they're in an open set or sometimes single back, and he's usually the single back there. But they use him a lot, and they use him efficiently.
And you talk about, so he had 94 carries coming into tonight. The Red Tornado leading rusher from a carry standpoint and a yard standpoint is Xavier Diaz. He's got 58, so nearly 40 fewer.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Diaz had 20 carries for 153 last week. We'll certainly talk more about the production of he and fellow running back Luke Blessing as we get started here with a touchback. That'll be Jagodinski's 9th of the season.
Yeah, Jim, I think that was a really, really good kick there to start things off. And I like that. You get the big entrance, you have the fireworks and stuff with the team coming out. Everybody's kind of revved up a little bit. So you get to see Jagodinski put the ball in the air to start things off, and he booms it deep into the end zone for a touchback.
That's actually his 10th kickoff for a touchback of the season. So we'll see here the Red Tornado defense first. Look at a little more what we're accustomed to. We saw some additional down linemen last week against Southern. They're back to whether you want to call it a 3-4 or a 5-2 front.
Yeah.
It's going to be Wetzel in the shotgun. He's going to pitch it to Snyder. He'll be, looks like they'll say, get a yard, 2nd and 9.
Yeah, it's a that's an interesting play there, because if you look at it, it's really, I think you could give credit to Wetzel for a completion on that.
Sure.
Because it's a forward pass, but that's just as easy as you can do to get a completion to get your day started.
Starting at nose tackle on the defensive front is 61 Jack Robert. It's Nestico and Chickatano on the tackles aside him, but Wetzel's going to throw and flip it out, and he's got Snyder for a first down, and he's up the side and will take a big shot from Farinato, but not before he gets all the way out to the 38-yard line.
Yeah, Jim, this is something I saw on the film here of Shikellamy, is they like to get Wetzel kind of into a groove and get him a lot of quick, easy passes. So they'll run these guys out of the backfield or out of a wing position, and it's just like a 2-yard quick out. And normally it's hard for a linebacker to get out there and cover that in time. So it's an easy completion, and then it gets your playmakers the ball in space.
Wetzel a big kid too, Dan. We were talking about that before the broadcast. 6'2", 2 1/4. This time it's going to be at Schaefer Knights up the middle. Now to the left, he's across midfield. Get down to the 48-yard line of the Red Tornadoes. We'll see. It's like Yagodinsky and Reed getting up off the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, that's another Braves first down. So moving the ball well here to start this first drive of the game here. Some big boys on the Shikellamy offensive line as well, Jim. It's on number 73, Cooper Rouse, 6'1". They only have him lifted here at 6'1", 253, but he looks like a big fella out there.
It's Schaefer Knights again, and this time he'll be met and stopped like Maddox Reed. Initial contact, and Chickatano from behind cleaned it up.
Yeah, that's a good job there by Reed coming in, filling his gap appropriately there. Looked like he got a good read there.
So we talked about the interior defensive line. You've got Schultz and Bradley on the ends, Yagodinsky and Reed, the linebackers. The two corners, Diaz and Farinato, he's closest to us here on the screen.
Yep.
And then Verano and Belichick are the safeties. We'll see both of them walk up closer and closer to the line of scrimmage as the night goes on. But for now, the Braves will spread them out 4 wide. And Wetzel's going to roll and throw. And he's got Snyder in the open field who breaks a tackle. He'll be thrown down by Diaz, but again, not after picking up yet another Brave first down.
Yeah, and Shikellamy seems to have the recipe here. They're just kind of dinking and dunking their way down the field, and they're doing a really good job. Just like I said, they're quick passes for Wetzel. He's able to, so he's not feeling the pressure from that tough interior defensive line, the Red Tornadoes. He's getting the ball out of his hand quickly, and he's getting the ball to his playmakers in space and just giving them a chance to make something happen. And they've put together a nice drive here to start things off.
Drive started at their own 20-yard line. They're now at the Red Tornado 32, taking about 2.5 minutes off the clock. Time Schaefer Knights, will come in motion. And we're going to get an illegal motion penalty against the Braves.
Yeah, there's a little motion on the up front there from everybody, with Schaefer Knights going in motion as well. And that's tough for the Braves as well, because this is one of those situations where you're starting to get the momentum, you're kind of in a rhythm, and then you have, it's tough to see, but it happens sometimes. You have one small penalty that can kind of derail a drive. Now you're starting behind the sticks here. It's still first down, but now you got 15 to go instead of 10.
It's that little shuffle pass almost to Snyder, but the Red Tornadoes are ready for it.
It looked like Chickatano was the first one on scene there. Got through the line pretty quickly.
Looks like it's going to be no gain, so it'll be 2nd and 15.
Gain of 1 brings up a 2nd and 14 for the Braves.
Yeah, again, this, that penalty could prove costly here on this drive. But again, a situation kind of where you're in plus territory. You got 3 downs to get these 15 yards rather than 2.
Schaefer Knight's in motion. So trips to the right. Wetzel drops, he's gonna look, he's under pressure, he throws it across the middle, and he somehow squeezes it into number 15, Jaden Packer.
Wow.
Down to about the 25-yard line. It's gonna be up third and very manageable, 2 yards.
Yeah, Jim, there were a lot of bodies flying all over the place there, and you're right, Packer just able to haul that one in. Looked like he came nearly out of nowhere to pull that one in.
I think they marked it about a yard short of where I thought, so it's a little closer to 4.
It's still a much more manageable
sure.
than that 15.
Number 33, Rashawn Martin, split way out left, taking Farinata almost entirely out of the play. And now Wetzel has trouble with the snap, and he's going to be down by Nestico and Schultz all the way back at the 35-yard line, it looks like, is where they're spotting the ball. So a 3rd and 4 turns into a 4th and 13.
Yeah, now that's you get yourself into a good position there on 3rd down, and then one little miscue, and you're looking at a 4th and very long, and you kind of the playbook shrinks a lot when you're looking at getting 10+ yards on a 4th down play.
A 3-receiver set to the left. Wetzel brings Snyder in motion. He's under pressure immediately from Reed, and he underthrows Snyder. Incomplete. The Red Tornadoes will take over on downs at the 35-yard line with 6:31 left in the first quarter.
Yeah, when the defense needed to step up there, that defensive front, this front 7, they answered the call, getting a lot of pressure there on a deep drop back from Wetzel, not giving him any opportunity to go through his progression there. Maddox Reed, like you said, applying the pressure there, put a hit on Wetzel as well.
And so on senior night, you'll get the freshman quarterback, Marshalik, starting, but he's got Zarski to his left, and Marshalik's going to throw, looking for Verano. He lays it out there, incomplete. Good coverage on the play by Martin.
Yeah, very good coverage there by Martin, but that's a nice looking ball there from Marshalik. Did a good job putting it out there in front of it and giving his receiver an opportunity to go and get it. But you're right, Martin kind of blanketed all over Verano there. Did a really nice job in coverage.
Offensive line the same as it's been the last few weeks. It's Shimko and Geary on the left side, Langton at the center, Lamas and Nestico on the right side, Chicatano and Schultz at the tight end positions, and we've got Farinata and Verano split out to the right. Marshalik's going to roll and throw again. Steps up, going to fling it out there. Verano somehow goes up top, but gets his feet in bounds. What a tremendous example of body control.
That was a great catch there from Verano, and that's more of the same from what we've seen from Verano this year. He's been unbelievable in the passing game. Pretty much anything you put up there for him, he's bringing it down.
Yeah, and despite, I don't know, I didn't see the initial signal, but there's a late move of the stick, so 1st and 10.
Yeah, it looked as though the spot where they initially spotted it was going to be short, but they're moving the chains. Oh, that's one of those ones where you want the free play, Jim.
Well, when you see the signal there for the offsides against the Braves, what was interesting, Dan, on the outside here, and I'm sure if we saw it, the Red Tornado saw it, Martin started about 10 yards off Farinata and then came up into press coverage. And it doesn't look like the way they're aligned that he's got help over the top.
I agree. And you see right now a little conversation between Coach Dara and Farinata. And Farinata, as he looked to the sideline there while the ball was being moved, Farinata looked at Coach Dara and kind of gave him the let's do that again. I see something.
So it's 1st and 5 from midfield for the Red Tornadoes. And Marshalik, here we go. And it's going to be incomplete. Again, good job by Martin there using the sideline as a second defender.
Yes, he did. He pressed, when he went up and pressed, he put hands on Farinata immediately off the ball and actually forced Farinata out of bounds and didn't really give him an opportunity to re-establish himself to come in and make a catch.
So now 2nd and 5 here. The Red Tornadoes will split Schultz out, and Chicatano will take a step back off the line. And we're going to see Marshalik, and he's got Chicatano just a little bit high. 3rd down.
And Jim, that was something that we saw last week from Marshall, and it worked out well. He's got a cannon arm, so he likes to throw those lasers in there. But that was one of those ones where you might want to just put a little touch on it, a little bit of air underneath it, let Shikellamy go and get it. Last week it worked out. He hit Schultz on his first completion of the game when he took over for a big play. This time, just a little bit out in front of Shikellamy, but we'll see them go back to that play again.
And now it's Zarski, and he's going to be dropped in the backfield. You see there's a nice play, but it looks like number 78,
I think, Jim.
78, John Rosinski. So big play there on third down. It's going to make it 4th and 10, and the Red Tornadoes are going to punt, Dan.
Yeah, and that's a really good defensive series there by the Braves. They did a good job after putting together a nice drive offensively. The unfortunate turnover on downs. They did a really good job. Defense answered and is getting the ball back for their offense.
It's a good punt by Yagodinsky. Snyder's going to take it, but he's got to run out of bounds with it. It's going to be all the way down just outside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, that's a really good punt there from Yagodinsky. He's continued to get better throughout the course of the year, and he's got a lot of leg into that one.
Yeah, so depending on exactly where the ball was spotted before, it was right around midfield. That's going to be very close to his season long for a punt. His long was at 39.
39 yards,
That's all but 40.
Yeah,
so.
You're right.
And a good spot to put the Red Tornado defense in. Now we'll see Al Bailey in at one of the defensive end positions. He and Bradley have rotated at different times throughout the season.
Yep.
High snap to Wetzel. He gets it off to Schaefer Knights. Nothing but red jerseys there. He's not going to get much more than back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think the Braves are going to have to find out for themselves, as did many of the other victims of the Red Tornado defense, is that if you want to run the ball, you're not going to be doing it up the middle. That tough defensive front has done a fantastic job all year long.
Just under 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter now. No score here at the Silver Bowl. 2nd and 10 for the Braves from their own 10. Wetzel to throw quick. It's high over everybody, incomplete, 3rd down.
Yeah, now this is a predicament that you don't really like to be in as an offense. You're kind of backed up. You're just outside the 10-yard line in the shadow of your own goal post, and you're facing a 3rd and long. You don't you want to get, even if you can't get a first down here, you want to get 6-7 yards. Give your punter a little bit more room so he's not punting out of his own end zone.
So with Snyder on the inside to the right, look for one of those quick outs again, I think, Dan. And just wide of Snyder.
Under a lot of pressure there. Wetzel immediately tried to roll, and there was no roll there. Pressure coming off that left side. I think it was from Schultz. But it may have been one of the linebackers blitzing. But whomever it was, they did a really good job of getting in Wetzel's face immediately and did not give him an opportunity to plant and throw.
Number 7, Nick Kuntz on to punt. Red Tornadoes, not much of a rush. Going to be in the direction of Farinado, but it'll bounce out of bounds right around the 40-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes. I won't say deep in Brave territory, but not a bad starting field position, Dan.
No, definitely not a bad starting spot. And we'll see this Red Tornado offense. Couple changes there on the offense as we see Verano in place of Farinado. Widener goes in, and Diaz back into the backfield. So they're going to go Old Faithful here, back to the shotgun double wing.
And it's going to go to Widener, and Widener's going to be dropped by Rosinski again. I thought he had a little room there, but Rosinski did a nice job of recovering from his lineman spot and stopping Widener after he picks up 6.
Yeah, usually it's a little bit harder for us to see, but it seemed like we had a kind of pretty clear view of Widener this time around after he jumped over that initial line, as he normally does. But you're right, Rosinski made a really nice tackle there because it looked like Widener did have some space if he got beyond him. Every
time they run that play, I have a slight second of panic because I know the ball's been snapped, but the quarterback doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And now it'll be Verano. He's going to get a good kick-out block from Diaz, another one from Geary. It'll be a first down for Verano down to about the 27.
Yeah, Derek Turber-Ortiz, number 25 there on the tackle, did a really good job kind of flowing from, I believe he's coming from an outside, middle linebacker spot. So really good job, kind of sideline to sideline speed there. Had a lot of range to make that play, but not until Verano was able to pick up the first down.
Verano comes to the sideline. Farinato replaces him. And it'll be Farinato on the same play. He's going to fight for yardage. He'll be near the 20.
Yeah, that's a good pickup there by Farinato. That didn't look like there was much there, but he did a good job kind of fighting his way through the briar patch there, taking a couple sticks here and there, but worked his way forward for a nice gain of 5.
I saw Nestico coming to the sideline. When I didn't see anybody replacing him, I was kind of curious what was going on. He had something for Coach Dara. He shared some information, something he's picking up on the field. Now it's going to be the pitch to Diaz. He's got some blockers out in front of him. A nice tackle made by Martin, or else Diaz might have had the corner on that one, Dan.
Yeah, I think so. And you're right. That was a good little Diaz. He can stop and go on a dime, and it's unbelievable seeing him just kind of plant and cut and make moves. But really good job there by Martin, just kind of sticking with that play and not giving up on it. But you mentioned Nestico going to the sideline with something for Coach Dara. That you love that as a coach. You love your players recognizing stuff and giving you play ideas.
Diaz again, and so close that time, just got tripped up. We'll have a Red Tornado first down to the 11. And Diaz looking to put some points on the board here for the Red Tornadoes. And we talked a lot during the game last week about Blessing as a workhorse, and he is a big, thick, tough kid.
Yeah.
Diaz, I don't know how you quietly have 153 yards. I think it's because he had a 67-yard touchdown to start the scoring.
Yeah.
And a 15-yard touchdown was the Red Tornadoes' final score last week. But he had 18 carries in between those and another 80 yards rushing. So it was a big night for Diaz.
It was a huge night. Huge night for the Red Tornado run game last week, all around.
Marshall to throw. He's looking for Verano. We'll get a flag there.
No, we won't.
No, we won't. All right. So incomplete intended for Verano. It's going to be 2nd and 10.
But, yeah, 2nd and 10 here for the Red Tornadoes. You saw that with the run game, pretty much to get them to this position. A little change of pace there, trying to maybe catch the Braves defense sleeping. But the defensive backfield in good position. Really good coverage on Verano. It seemed like coverage did get there slightly early, but didn't appear that way to the officials.
It's Widener again. He stays on his feet, does a nice job, but the Braves seem ready for that one. It's very messy in there for him. He'll get down to, what was that, about the 7.
Yeah, so we'll see now if the Red Tornadoes can get a first down here without getting 6. I always like these plays. First and 10 from the 11-yard line.
Right.
It's probably more difficult to get a first down than it is to get 6 points.
And it's Farinato, and he's fighting, and he's in. So a 7-yard touchdown run for Michael Farinato here on senior night to open the scoring for the Red Tornadoes, not unlike last season.
Right.
At Shikellamy, Farinato opened the scoring for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, and you're right, Jim, that it seemed like, you could see here on the replay, the beautiful replay, But Farinata almost got completely turned around, but was able to keep his feet and fight forward and falling into the end zone at the end there. But really good run there.
Jagodinski's kick is up and good. And so took 11 minutes and 6 seconds through the first quarter, but the Red Tornadoes have struck first. It's 7-0.
Yeah, Jim, this seems eerily reminiscent of last year's game. Red Tornadoes against the Braves. You know, the Red Tornado offense kind of got off to a slow start last year in this game. They came into that game 6-2 at the time, but Farinata started the scoring. The Red Tornadoes offense kind of got started slowly, but then picked things up as the game went on. So I'm thinking the Red Tornadoes are hoping that they can kind of catch that lightning again.
Yeah, I think they'll look to their defense for another spark here for sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
You talk about that game last season. Stellar had 3 touchdowns, but one of them was Geary had picked off a pass. Kellen Geary picked off a pass and took a shot, and the ball popped out, and Stellar was Johnny on the spot and scooped it up and scored. So, and obviously the Red Tornado defense was huge last week, turning the Tigers over 5 times with interceptions by 5 different players. And a little miscommunication there by the Braves returners will lead to Jagodinski's 11th touchback of the season.
Yeah, Jim, you're right. It looked like they weren't sure who. Maybe you called it, or you got it. No, you got it. And nobody got it. But thankfully for the Braves, no harm, no foul there. Ball bounces in the end zone. They get to start it off at the 20.
So it'll stay the same for the Braves. They'll stay 4 wide. And what that does to the Red Tornadoes is it spreads out the defensive ends a little bit.
Yeah.
Makes their path to the quarterback just a little bit longer. But that time, Shikellamy grabs Schaefer Knights before he can even get started. He's going to lose about half a yard on the play.
Yeah, Shikellamy was in really good position there. Did a good job fighting off his blocker and just kind of sitting down. Didn't give Schaefer Knights a one-way go. He couldn't go inside or outside. He had to make a decision rather than Shikellamy making the decision for him. And his decision was to try and just run straight at him. You're not really going to win that battle too often.
And speaking of Geary, he's back in there at the nose tackle position for this drive.
Yes, he is.
Wetzel's going to throw. He's under pressure from Bailey. And he throws it over the head of Schaefer Knight. So that'll stop the clock with just under 7 seconds left in the first quarter.
Jim, Bailey did a really good job there. He was in really good pursuit. Didn't want to give up contain, but also wanted to continue to put pressure. So he kind of slowed down. And when he saw that Wetzel was preparing to throw that ball, when he kind of reached back to throw it, instead of trying to dive at Wetzel and put a hit on him, he got his hands up. And he didn't get a hand on it, but that's what you want from your pass rush guys. If they're not going to get there for a sack, you want them to get there and get their hands in the air. Just make that view a little bit tougher.
Now it's another one of those little shovel pitch passes to Luke Snyder, and he'll get hit pretty hard by Belichick, and that's going to be the last play of the first quarter, as after 12 minutes, it's 7-0 Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, so there'll be a 4th down when we start the second quarter, and we'll most likely see the Shikellamy punt team taking the field to start the second quarter. And, we get to see the Mount Carmel returners with an opportunity to field one and try and catch some lightning,
And as we're here switching sides of the field, it's a good time to remind you tonight's broadcast is sponsored by Winnie the Pooh Daycare and Preschool. Just want to thank them for their support. I also want to remind you that Thursday nights at 6:30, at Matucci's is Supper Club.
Yeah.
There was a cool article in the paper today on the 40th anniversary. We had Mr. Sakavage, the Mount Carmel Athletic Director, with us 2 weeks ago talking about Supper Club a little bit. So again, 6:30 Thursday nights at Matucci's in the back room. You can meet players, cheerleaders, band members, as well as TV studio kiddos and the coaching staff.
Yep.
Plus, just people that have a lot in common with you, which is a love of Red Tornado football.
And a love of really good food.
Yeah.
You know, you're not only getting, you know, all the information that you want there, you're also getting a great meal.
Yeah, there's a reason you have it at Matucci's, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So again, it starts at 6:30, but if you want to see, you should probably be there by 6. Now Kuntz will be punting to Verano and Farinato. Not much of a rush from the Red Tornadoes. It should be returnable by Verano. He'll take it back at the 43. He's going to try to get the edge and almost makes Schaefer Knights miss, but he hangs on to his jersey just long enough for, it's like number 73, Cooper Rouse, to clean it up.
Yeah, it was a really nice spin move there from Verano. It looked like, if you're right, I think if he was able to shake Schaefer Neitz, he would have had some room to run.
We talked about the return tonight, Dan, and look who's entered the Red Tornado backfield. Cole Spears.
And this is something that you love to see as as a Red Tornado fan, as a football fan in general. You know, you see a guy who's out for a few weeks with an injury finally get a chance to get back out there on the field.
And he's going to throw right away, and he's going to go up top for Schultz. Welcome back,
wow.
Cole Spears. A great reception by Schultz all the way down to the 15-yard line, a gain of 28.
And Schultz goes over top of the defender to pull that one in. And Spears, welcome back, is right. I think if you're listening close enough, you just heard the PA announcer, Mr. Demansky, give Spears a welcome back after he announced that completion there. And that's the truth. That's a great way to start your first game back from injury.
And we'll get 5 free ones here for the Red Tornadoes. We'll get offsides against the Braves. It'll take it down to 1st and 5 from about the 11.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this last week when Belichick went out and Marshall came in. I think the Red Tornadoes actually got an offside penalty against Southern Columbia. Just the little bit of change of cadence, you know what I mean? The change of your voice inflection just from having a different person in there can only throw off the offense, but it can also throw off the defense who's trying to time a snap.
Coach Adara also had Marshall throw it right away as well, and now Spears is going to throw again, and he's got Farinato incomplete. Good coverage there. I'm trying to see the jersey number, Dan. It was good recovery by the Brave defender. Looks like his jersey's a little bit bunched up.
Yeah, is it? I'm trying to look here. Was it 16? Was it Matt Schaefer? Matt Schaefer.
I think that sounds right.
It looks like one of those teen numbers.
Right. I mean, he's in the right position. Schaefer is the safety, and he's number 16.
So that's probably right. But really good job there. Spears looks like he's moving well, and he did a really good job of kind of putting the ball in a spot where only his receiver could get to it. Fortunately, wasn't able to bring it in.
And Spears will throw it a third time, 3 in a row. That one is good to Schultz for a 10-yard Red Tornado touchdown. It's 13-0 Mount Carmel, 11-17 left in the first half.
And again, it's always great to see a guy come back from injury and have the success that they've always had. And we're seeing Spears kind of come in, picking up right where he left off. I mean, up until the point that he went down with an injury, he was 43 of 54 for 513 yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was very efficient, Jim. He was completing the ball at a very efficient rate. He had a lot of yardage, and he wasn't turning the ball over. And what we see is he goes 2 of 3 here, 2 nice passes to Schultz, 2 big completions, and it turns into 6 points.
And even the incompletion to Farinato there, as Yankadinsky misses the extra point, so it'll stay at 13. There was a small window to throw that football in. It was going to be a difficult catch for Farinata, but Spears put the ball where only Farinata was going to get it.
Absolutely, and it's good to see that. Now, I think I've been proven wrong by the coaching staff and the players plenty of times. But I think as a coaching staff, you want to ease Spears back into things. So you get him out there for his first drive on offense. For one, the offensive line did a great job keeping him clean. He didn't have to take any hits. He didn't have to move off of his spot at all. And now defensively, he used to be a big defensive guy too, playing at corner. I think you continue to see him stay on the sideline on these defensive series.
Nagadinski's kick.
And offsides.
We're going to get offside on the Red Tornadoes. But just to go back to the incompletion of Farinata, we were talking about Schaefer. I was tracking jersey numbers. It was actually Jaden Packer was who was over the top.
Oh, okay, 15.
Yeah, because I can see Schaefer now. His jersey is not bunched up. But as you do that where you kind of track players across the field.
Yeah.
And I was finally able to verify it was Packer.
Okay.
So a 5-yard penalty here against the Red Tornadoes. Nice job by the Braves front line moving up.
Yeah.
You've seen that a couple times where the front line doesn't move up.
Yeah, a chance for an easy onside kick there, onside recovery, if the front line's not really paying attention.
That's going to be a high kick. It's going to be Snyder at the 15. And he gets up through the briar patch, as Dan likes to call it, out to about the 37-yard line. We'll see who gets him off the bottom. Looks like Reed's in there.
We'll have to see who else. Schultz got the first piece of him.
I think that's Bailey in there with Reed.
Yeah, I think so. But a really good job there on the coverage, because that ball had some hang time. So there were actually some of the Red Tornado kickoff guys that actually outran it. They did a really good job of kind of closing the gate and not giving up too much ground there.
It's a halfback pass, and it's caught by Packer, and he's down the sideline for a Braves touchdown. So that was Luke Snyder. He takes the handoff, put his foot in the ground, and threw a jump ball to Packer, who came down with it and ran away from the defense. That's good for 62 yards and 6 points.
Yeah, Jim, that was impressive. I mean, you're right, that because it looked like initially Packer had a step, that kind of got caught there. Diaz, being one of the fastest kids on the team, probably one of the fastest kids you'll see play, did a really good job recovering and getting back into good coverage. But the ball placement, and Packer just went up and was able to get it, and then was able to take it for 6.
And we're going to get 12 men in the huddle here against the Braves. So Kuntz will kick from 5 yards deeper.
Kuntz on the year 11 of 15 for extra points, so he's pretty efficient kicking the ball, but we'll see 5 yards back if it makes it a little bit more difficult on him.
Well, and Snyder, the man who just threw the touchdown pass, is the holder, so
yeah,
head on a swivel here. Now Kuntz made the kick.
There was another flag.
Now this is going to be against the Red Tornadoes, it looks like, where they lined up, I believe. And so give those 5 yards back.
Yeah.
But that's where, if you're the Braves, you say, well, I wish you would have let us just kind of run through that play.
Right, or give us the opportunity to decline, since they did kick it even though the whistle was blown.
Offside penalty indicated against the Red Tornadoes.
So we'll do this dance here where we move 5 yards one way and 5 yards another.
Braves will line up again for the conversion attempt.
We talked about how big of a kid quarterback Luke Wetzel is. Now, I know the positions are a little bit different, on an extra point as Kuntz drills that, so it's 13-7.
Yeah.
But Wetzel was lined up as essentially the right guard. He was just to the right of the center.
Yeah, well, Jim, you remember I pointed out, it looked like on the initial, I'm assuming this is the initial roster. This is off of Max Preps. I believe the initial roster looked like they had Wetzel listed as a tight end and a defensive tackle. So being the size that he is, he kind of more so fits that description of a tight end or a D tackle.
Yeah.
But does a really good job there at the quarterback spot for the Braves.
And if you look across the sideline if you look across the field at the opposite sideline, there's a young man that we had some numbers on, Brody Rebuck. He's number 12. He's standing there in his jersey. So at some point, they had changed quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's kind of, I'd imagine it's somewhat like we talked about at Southern last week, where you go, okay, if you, fortunately for the Red Tornadoes, they had some clean backup quarterbacks where you had, when Spears went down, you had Belichick. When Belichick went down, you had Marshalluk. You had an obvious guy to step up.
Right.
But if that's not the case, sometimes it's who's our best athlete.
Right.
Kind of who's got a big arm, those kinds of things. So
yeah, we've seen this guy throw before.
Right.
He can see over the offensive line, because sometimes it's something as simple as that. You know, that if you got a big offensive line, you got to be able to see your receivers in their routes.
Ask Kyler Murray about that one. It's tough.
Yeah.
And now the Braves try an onside kick. They're going to recover, but they recovered about 9 yards, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And the officials have thrown the flag for an illegal touching.
There's some conversation here. This flag might get picked up because the official from the other side seemed very adamant calling the official from this side back to discuss this. But we'll see what ends up getting done.
Well, the Braves are headed to the sideline, and so are the Red Tornadoes. So if it's going to be an illegal touching against the Braves, so it'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes from that spot, which is 2 inches inside of Brave territory.
Yeah, which is 2 inches shy of that 10-yard mark
right.
that the Braves needed the ball to go. So it was close.
That's such a good point.
If they would have let it take one more half of a roll, they probably would have been able to fall on that. But things work out well for the Red Tornadoes here, and they get great field position here to start another drive.
And you talked about Coach Dara kind of easing Spears into the offense. We've got Marshalluk back in at quarterback for the Red Tornadoes.
And we'll see if they decide to air it out with Marshalluk.
It's Diaz, and he's going to be met in the hole by Schaefer Knights. And it's like 44 Blaze Souter.
And I think I saw 4 in there as well, just 4. Ethan Turber Ortiz, middle linebacker. There was a lot of guys around the ball there when that whistle was blown.
Well, and that jump cut by Diaz is electric, but unfortunately that time there were people where he in the cutback lane.
Yeah, he kind of jump cut into a bear hug there, it looked like.
So 2nd and 9. Marshalluk to throw, and he's going to look for Schultz, who got behind the defense, but just a little too much on that one. So it'll be 3rd and 9.
And again, that was another situation where that time Marshalluk did put a little bit of air on it. You know, he didn't try to zip the laser in there, but unfortunately just a little too much. And he's for a freshman quarterback, he throws a nice ball, he's making the right reads, and he's making the right decisions. And last week, it all came together. This week, if the more opportunities he gets to put the ball in the air, the more it's gonna gel, and these plays are gonna start hitting.
Now he's gonna throw again over the head of Shikellamy. So it'll be 4th down now, and expect the Red Tornadoes to punt here.
But maybe
it's funny.
not.
Jagodinski certainly does. You see him hop up off the bench and put his helmet on.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about the Marshalluk situation, and we went through this a couple weeks ago with Belichick too.
Yeah.
It seems if some of your throws, if there's a little too much zip on them, it's just nerves. It's just excited. I think when you come in, much like Belichick did in the middle of a game.
Yep.
Belichick did that. At Bloomsburg.
At Bloomsburg,
At right. And Marshalluk came in last week. Good high kick out of Jagodinski. You're kind of already in. Snyder takes a fair catch at the 10. you're already in the rhythm of the game.
Yes.
So you're kind of calm down, you're mellow, you can, okay, I've got a job to do.
Right.
But when you go all week as the starter,
Yeah, and
you're going to get excited.
Yeah, and especially now, and it's funny because it worked out the same for Marshalik as it did for Belichick, where now you're at home, in front of your home fans. You know what I mean? At the Silver Bowl, where this is like a palace here. This Silver Bowl, especially to the people in this area. This is like a wonderful place to play, but it can be nerve-wracking, and I think you're right. I think once Marshalik settles in, this offense is going to be flowing.
Hand off to Schaefer Knights, and now he's in the open field. Butchick's got an angle, but Schaefer Knights is trying to make it through anyway. He's going to score from 90 yards out, and it's 13-all here at the Silver Bowl. A 90-yard touchdown run by Isaac Schaefer Knights. Yeah,
Jim, that was just the blocking was there. There was a block down and a kick out, and then there was nobody there behind. They had set the play up well to where the defensive backs were all kind of pulled to the wide side of the field, to the far side of the field, to where once Schaefer Knights got through the initial line of scrimmage, all he had to do was outrun the angles, and he did a really good job of that.
Coons on for the extra point and the lead. It's good. And so with 9 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the first half, the visiting Shikellamy Braves lead the Red Tornadoes 14-13.
Yeah, Jim, this is turning into a situation for the Red Tornadoes where it's like, okay, guys, we got to wake up. Defensively, we've had some mistakes. Offensively, we made some mistakes. Now everybody needs to settle in. It's back. I mean, we're down one, but you're basically back even at this point.
Sure.
So if you want to take a lead into the half, or you want to take a win home at the end of the game, everybody's got to just relax, settle in, and go out and play your game.
The 2 touchdowns scored by the Braves, 62 and 90. Those are the yardages. So 152 yards on those 2 touchdowns. And again, I think that speaks to, the Red Tornado defense is not going to give up a sustained drive.
No,
right? The Braves
not.
started the game with 1, and the Red Tornadoes bent a little bit, but didn't break, turned them away. But it's been 2 big plays.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, when you play against a team that is susceptible to having these big plays, to making these big plays, that you expect that 1 or 2 of them are going to happen. But you need your offense to keep up, and you also need your defense to say, okay, this is okay. This happened. Now we go focus on the next drive.
Now it's a low bounce kick. It's going to be taken by Maddox Reed. And now he's got the sideline. Employs a beautiful stiff arm, still on his feet, all the way into Brave territory. Let's see where they mark it. It's going to be around the 45. We'll see if it's exactly the 45.
Yeah, I think that's right where they're going to put it. All right, the 46.
That was a nice return by Reed.
Really good job there by Reed. Not a guy we get to see carry the ball.
No.
It's nice to see those guys kind of put their moves out there when they don't really get an opportunity to do it.
So the Red Tornadoes will go back tight with Marshall. He'll stay in a quarterback, but this time he'll have Blessing with him. And it'll be Blessing off the right side. And he'll be flung forward down to about the 42. Gain of around 5.
Yeah, nice little gain there by Blessing. And this may turn into one of those games for the Red Tornadoes where, sort of like last week against Southern, or go all the way back to week 1 against North Schuylkill, where you have to lean on these running backs. Last week, Blessing had 18 carries and Diaz had 20. You may have to see that again tonight to have some success with your offense.
It's Blessing again. He'll get over the 40. He'll bring up third and 2. Yeah, Blessing had He had the Red Tornadoes, they had 5 interceptions last week. We talked about Dan. And they had 5 rushing touchdowns, 2 from Diaz and 3 from Blessing.
Right, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I said 18 carries, 16 carries for Blessing last week, but still 36 carries between Diaz and Blessing going back to last week. And nobody had more than, neither one of those guys had carried the ball that many times this season.
And Blessing has trouble with the handoff. He's going to fall back on it.
Yeah, I think Blessing was able to get on that one.
But a 3rd and 2 becomes a 4th and 5. I think Coach Darrell will leave the offense out there.
Yeah, you have to stay offense on the field here, especially down here in the second quarter. You got to put the trust in your offense. Give Marshall another opportunity to maybe put a throw out there.
It'll be Farinato. And Farinato's just held up by Schaefer Knights. He gets the first down, but was about the grip strength of Schaefer Knights away from a 36-yard touchdown.
Again, just as I mentioned, them letting Marshall put the ball in the air again. You saw that a little bit of a wider split from Blessing. I don't know if you were able to notice that, but he was lined up a little bit further away from Marshall as usual. And no, I thought, that was to get the outside blitzer in pass protection, but that was to kind of pull the defensive end out to give a little bit more room inside.
And now Marshall will throw, and he's got Verano. Touchdown, Red Tornadoes. 26 yards, Marshall to Verano. That one was right on the money.
Yeah, that's a beautiful throw there from Marshall, and Verano did a really good job with kind of hands all over him, reeling that one in, the focus to pull that one in. Really good job there by Verano. So, and we're going to see Marshall come to the sideline and Bailey go in. We're going to see the Wildcat for the 2-point conversion here.
Blessing will take the snap with Bailey to the side of him. At least that's the way it's been set up in the past.
Yeah. They like going off that right-hand side as well. Seems like going towards
Nestico
and Lamas.
Yeah, you see it's heavy over there. You go Nestico, Lamas.
And they always have Bailey to the right side of Blessing as well.
And that's what it'll be. And Blessing's going to get in for 2. So it'll be 21-14 Red Tornadoes with 7:15 remaining in the first half of what's been very exciting.
And we got a little bit of chippiness going on here. But thankfully, and now the flag comes out very late as the teams were separating. But the Red Tornadoes, going back to the 2-point conversion play while they sort things out here, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what people say, I think, right? And that 2-point conversion play has been big for the Red Tornadoes throughout the past few years, and it continues to work out.
I'm trying to see where this flag is going to go. There was some pointing by the officials at the Red Tornado sideline. I'm not sure if that meant go ask them what they want to do.
Yeah. I think, you see both coaches kind of being consulted here. One of them's getting some bad news, and the other one's getting an option. Yeah.
So the head official still remains in the middle of the field about the 2-yard line.
I think he's waiting to have things sorted out here.
Now they're going to set the ball.
Oh, here's the call right here. Unsportsmanlike conduct against the Red Tornadoes.
They're going to take it back 15 yards. So Yagodinsky will have quite the field in front of him to get his 12th touchback of the season.
Yeah, be kicking from the 25.
To put on quite a show here. So I'm sure on the Red Tornado sideline here, the kick coverage team stressing the importance of coverage.
Yes.
Break down and make a sure tackle because it's going to be a pretty good starting field position for the Braves regardless here.
Which may be not a bad thing for the Red Tornadoes with the length of the Braves' 2 touchdowns to this point. Maybe you want to give them a shorter field to play with. They can't have such a long.
Still a nice kick by Yagodinsky, be taken by Snyder at the 25. And he's going to come right up the middle. He runs into his own guy. But he's going to get into Red Tornado territory. It'll be 1st and 10. It's going to be about the 47.
Yeah, so we'll see now what the Braves decide to do offensively. I mean, they've had a halfback pass turn into a long touchdown, and then they've had just a simple, looked like an inside zone play that turned into a big 90-yard touchdown run. So we'll see if they're going to keep things spread out to kind of keep the Red Tornado defense opened up, but they might continue to run the ball in this situation.
Jack Robert back in there defensively for the Red Tornadoes. Right on cue, Wetzel throws it, and he's got Martin incomplete. He got behind the defense, but it's going to be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, that was a good ball from Wetzel there, but you're right. He wasn't able to haul it in there on the far sideline. That's a tough catch to bring in because it's over your outside shoulder for Martin there, so that's a tough one, but really well-placed ball from Wetzel.
Wetzel's going to throw again. This one quick to Schaefer. It's intercepted. It's intercepted by Belichick. That's his 4th of the season. He leads the team. And a huge play there by the defense off the batted ball, we'll call it. It's 1st and 10, Red Tornadoes at the 46.
You're right, Jim. That is a huge defensive play there for the Red Tornadoes. Belichick coming up big, being in the right position at the right time. And that's credit to the defensive backs by being near the ball, being around the ball. You never know what way that ball's going to bounce when it's thrown. And just being prepared, keeping your head on a swivel. He did a good job getting in position to make the tackle. And as he broke down, the ball fell into his lap.
And now it's Farinaudo. Good sure tackle made by Snyder for a gain of 2.
Farinaudo taking that handoff from Spears as well. We see Spears back in there at the quarterback spot again.
He aggressively took that handoff, I might add.
Yes.
And it's a testament to how well these kids know the offense and their vision as runners. Because sometimes you can almost tell when they take the ball that they're going to try to get the corner, and other times all right, time to go inside.
Right.
And Diaz runs through some arm tackles for a Red Tornado 1st down to the 42.
Yeah, he's eventually taken down by Ethan Turbo Ortiz, number 4, from behind, but did a really good job of kind of picking his way through there and getting the 1st down.
Approaching the halfway mark here in the 2nd quarter. It's 21-14 Red Tornadoes. This is a WKMC TV broadcast. Tonight's sponsored by Winnie the Pooh Daycare and Preschool. Red Tornadoes will stay tight, but we're going to get offsides against the Braves. So it'll be 1st and 5 now as the ball moves to the 37.
And I think in this situation, Jim, at least with the time we've got on the clock, 6 minutes, like you said, at the halfway mark now, 1st and 5. You've had a little success running the ball on this drive so far. I think this is a shot play. If I'm Coach Dare, I'm calling a shot play. Let Spears air it out. Give him a chance to find maybe Schultz or Shikellamy down a seam.
I like when you call plays.
I like to take a chance.
You're wrong a lot, and that amuses me. And it's Verano. Be close to the 1st down. Ball's right at the 32.
It's going to be another 1st down.
One official thinks it's a 1st down.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Now we got him moving, man. I might just keep saying that. I think this is a good opportunity for a shot play here until they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trouble with the ball, with the handoff, and it's recovered by the Braves. Looks like number 72, Osvaldo Baez. And it'll be just like that. It'll be 1st and 10 Braves now going the other way.
Yeah, it's a good job on the defensive side of the ball, being, just getting into the backfield and being ready for that one. When the ball hit the ground, there was a Brave defender right there to fall on it immediately.
Geary's going to be in at nose tackle this time. Looks like they're rotating Geary, Jack Robert, and Noah Shimko
at
that nose tackle spot. Otherwise, the Red Tornado defense kind of remains stagnant.
And they've all been doing a heck of a job there too, Jim. That really hasn't been much up the middle, straight up the middle for the Braves to do.
Wetzel to throw again. He's going to be under pressure, and he's looking for Snyder, and it's Oh! Verano tried to take it away from Snyder, and he almost had it.
Yeah, Verano with great coverage there, and you're right, he almost did take that one away from Snyder. But Snyder just, the ball placement was good from Wetzel, so, and because of that, Verano wasn't able to haul it in because he tried to bring it in almost over top of Snyder's arm, which I think ended up pulling the ball away.
Yeah, with Verano, his position, he winds up almost having like that outside leverage so Snyder can get inside on that deep post route. But he does a good job of recovering and coming over the top to try to make a play on the ball. You see Diaz here, he bails, but it's a screen pass, and it's going to be blown up by Belichick, who's having himself a heck of a night on that side of the field. Going to take it back to, it looks like, the 33.
Yeah, that's a great job there by Belichick. Credit to Schaefer Needs hanging on to that one. You know, that's not an easy ball to hang on to with a defender bearing down on you and laying the lumber right away.
Going to be a loss of about 5 on that one, all the way back to the 33. Be 3rd and long here, 4.5 to play. The Red Tornadoes come after Wetzel. Incomplete. Good coverage.
Yeah, really good job there by the Red Tornadoes in coverage, and that's gonna force a Shikellamy Braves punt, which again, you know, the turnover on the last possession was big for the Big Red, but this defensive stand after the Braves get the turnover of their own to kind of force a punt is huge for the Red Tornadoes.
And I paused there in my discussion of that play because the reaction of the Braves sideline, for a second at least, I thought I must have missed a flag on the field.
Yeah, there's been a lot of enthusiasm coming from that Braves sideline.
And the punt's blocked. That's Geary. Bailey's going to pick it up, but it'll get knocked out of bounds by Schaefer Knights. Geary gets through, blocks the punt, and it's first down, Red Tornadoes at the 24.
Yeah, that's a great job by Geary getting through. There was a lot of pressure up the middle. Geary and Shikellamy both got in there, got through quickly, which put a lot of pressure on Kuntz. But you're right, I think Geary was the one that was able to get his hands up and get a body part on it and put the Red Tornadoes in a great position. That's a good opportunity for a shot play here, Jim.
Well, it'll be with Marshalik if they opt to. He's back in at the helm. Blessing can't quite get through that second level. It's a good, tough run inside the 20. But he had a Brave wrapped around his waist that kind of prevented him from getting any further.
Yeah, it's a good run there by Blessing, though. Either way, did a good job kind of fighting forward. I think that was Luke Snyder, the one that actually ended up with making the tackle on that play.
Snyder having himself a nice night as well.
Yeah, he's been all over the field on both sides of the ball.
And it's Verano. Be shy of the first down.
Farinato.
Yeah.
But you're right, just shy of the first down there. And Jim, I know you mentioned it on the last drive, and it's something to continue to be said, that how well these guys can kind of see the field and see the way plays are going to develop. Before they even take the handoff, it seemed like Farinato knew that there was no opportunity to get to the outside, so let me take the handoff, turn upfield, get my shoulder down, and get what I can get.
Now it's Verano. And he can't quite get out. I should have a first down.
Yeah, it's going to be real close if he doesn't have it, but I think they're signaling first down already.
So it will be first down. But what it looks like what's happening, and credit the Braves, they're crashing hard to the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And so there's just, the Red Tornadoes have the opportunity to kind of, on the strength of their offensive line, they get through that that first level. But the Braves are so tight. And Blessing, again, he gets you can get through that first line of defense.
Yeah.
And then you get to the second level, and the Braves crash hard.
Yeah, Jim, I think you're absolutely right. I think this is an opportunity where
Take
if
a shot play?
No, actually not a shot play this time. If you get to a hash mark, no matter which side of the field you're on, if you're on the hash, because everybody is so tight, you can get Diaz or Zarski or even Blessing, who's got pretty good wheels for being kind of the bigger back. You can get him on that outside pitch. Get them moving to the corner and just let them beat everybody to the pylon.
We get a timeout there from the Braves. It's 2nd and 7 from the 11 for the Red Tornadoes. They lead the Braves 21-14 here with 2:06 left in the first half. And I'll be honest with you, Dan, I can't decide if this first half is moving quickly or slowly.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's only 8:01. I mean, we're only an hour into this game, and we're nearly through the first half. So, I mean, we've definitely seen some longer halves.
Sure.
But you're right.
I feel like it took forever to get, once the second quarter started, to get past like 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And now here there's only 2 minutes left.
Well, I mean, the back-to-back drives where Shikellamy has long plays for touchdowns, and there's always the breaks for that. The 2 penalties on the extra point, which are untimed plays. So there's no game clock running off.
Farinado again, and he takes a shot. Right down to about the 10. It's going to be 3rd. Say 3rd and 6.
Now again, Jim, this is a situation where you if you're the Red Tornadoes, you need to get points on this drive, especially going into the half. Clock's winding down, near a minute and a half left before halftime. You want to definitely get points before the buzzer.
It's Blessing. And he's going to fight down to the 5. So he's going to be short of the first down. It's going to be 4th and about 2.
Yeah.
You notice the Braves, when they're holding them up, they're ripping at the ball.
They absolutely are, Jim. They're trying to do whatever they can. And it's kind of the smart play to do in this position on the field, because you know that it's 4-down territory. You know they're going to go for it on 4th down. So you don't want to. You want to make sure that if you got a chance to hold them up, you don't want the possibility of them getting another chance at getting the first down. You want to rip that ball out and create a turnover.
Braves call a timeout with 50 seconds left. You have what you had there is, if you noticed, it was Blessing and Bailey again on that 4th and short. The other thing too, your point, Dan, about how the Braves are behaving at this part of the field. There's also the inclination, I think, whoever the ball carrier is, you're going to try to stretch that ball out.
Yeah.
Whether it's for the first down marker, for the pylon, for the end line, whatever it might be.
Absolutely. So, if there's defenders' hands on that ball, you don't have the opportunity to do that because you want to make sure ball security.
So a big play here, again, will be regardless of whether the Braves are able to do anything with it after the fact, the stop here would be huge to keep it at a 1-score ball game.
For sure. And then, I mean, we've seen 2 big plays for points from the Braves. So you can't count them out no matter how much time they're given.
The Red Tornadoes are heavy to that right side with Bailey to Blessing's right, as long as Widener. And it's Blessing off the right side, and he's got the first down, and he's in for a touchdown. So a great effort there by Blessing, as well as the entire offensive line on that side. It's 27-14 Mount Carmel with 44 seconds remaining in the first half.
Yeah, and there's so much beef over on that side. So Blessing, even though he did have to kind of pick his way through a little bit, he got hit early, was able to stay on his feet and just trust his blockers and follow them all the way through. Turn that into 6 points.
Well, there is a Brave down on the sideline. Fortunately, he's already been helped up. So that's great to see there. So it was number 25, Derek Turbert Ortiz.
Yagodinski on for the point after attempt.
He's the third leading tackler for the Braves coming in tonight with 83 tackles on the season. But Yagodinski's kick is up and he drives it through, so it's 28-14 Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, and again, now the Red Tornadoes, and the unfortunate part for the Braves, at least, is on that drive, because the coaching staff of the Braves realized the importance of that drive, especially getting into a fourth down situation. You want to make sure you have the right defense set up. They used 2 timeouts on that drive.
Yeah.
So now you've got 44 seconds left and only 1 timeout. So I'm not sure what I guess it depends on where you return the kick to. You know, if Yagodinski is able to boom one deep and it turns into a touchback and you're at your own 20-yard line, maybe you kneel on the ball and take it to the half. But if you're out near midfield when you start your drive, maybe you take a shot or two.
Well, I think it's interesting because you made a good point, and it really just depends on the approach the Braves want to take.
Yeah.
They've scored from everywhere on the field tonight.
Yeah, they have. And that's why not take another shot at, throw the halfback pass again. You caught the Red Tornadoes a little bit off guard the last time and had a really athletic play made to turn it into 6 points. So even if the Red Tornadoes are ready for it, you get the right ball placement, the right guy that's able to shake some tackles, and you could turn it into something big.
It's not quite the last game of the year, but it's certainly close enough to not hold anything back.
That's very true.
Good kick from Yagodinski. It's going to be Martin at the 7. Lose the first tackler, but he'll run into Reed. Reed will get some help, but he's the first one to slow him up, and he's not going to let him up. So 1st and 10. Braves. See where they marked well. Looks like the 31.
Forever. Yeah, so we'll see what the Braves opt to do. Little huddle there on the sideline. Just trying to get their offense squared away and figure out what their options are and kind of how they want to attack things. Maybe you give Wetzel 2 plays to take into the huddle. Now they're going to start the play clock again.
See, they're going to come out tight. This is a tighter formation. It looks like they're just going to take a knee.
Yeah, I think so.
And the Red Tornadoes took a timeout.
Yeah, little gamesmanship here from Coach Dara.
Coach Dara, he's got his entire accompaniment of timeouts.
Can't excuse me, I'm sorry. Can't take them with you, though. You can't take those timeouts. They don't roll over into the second half, so why not use them if you're Coach Dara?
Well, I think, there's the idea, hey, we have 3 timeouts. Everybody knows how many timeouts we have. There's 35 seconds left. It's not that there's 2 or 3 seconds.
Right.
And if you're the Red Tornadoes, you think we also just blocked a punt.
That is very true.
If we can get you to punt here, that's an opportunity for us. And they themselves, not as much tonight, but have certainly shown the ability to score from anywhere on the field as well.
You're absolutely right, Jim, and that's just the kind of the gamesmanship. Like I said, now you see, we may not see the Braves come out in a kneel down formation here, and they're not.
So now it's Wetzel. He's got trouble with the snap, and he's under pressure. Now he's going to run, and Schultz is going to run up from his defensive end position and drag him down in the backfield. Red Tornadoes are going to take a second timeout as it's after the sack. They're going to move the ball back to about the 28.
And again, now you see that little bit of issue with the snap there. Ball security is an issue. You never know. Does it happen again on this snap? That it's just I think it's a really good play by Coach Dara using his timeouts. Just give your defense another opportunity.
So we'll see what the Braves opt to do. Honestly, I would have liked if they'd tried to kneel it again, just to say, are you really going to do this 3 times?
Right.
Nope, wide open. This time they'll keep Schaefer Knights in the backfield with Wetzel.
And they get the Red Tornadoes to jump off sides.
That's such an interesting
because
call because there's always like that pause where you think, oh, okay, the Red Tornadoes got back.
They got, right. And normally, as long as you don't draw an offensive player off sides as well, you can usually let them get back, reestablish themselves, and then have the ball snapped.
That's going to move it back inside. So back inside the sticks. It'll be 3rd and 9 now rather than the 3rd and 14.
Yeah.
We'll try the hard count again. Red Tornadoes won't bite that time. They'll continue to try the hard count. Going to run this play clock down perhaps as far as they can. And now the Braves are going to use a timeout. Hey, remember a couple minutes ago when I said this first half was kind of buzzing along?
Yeah.
Well, it's going to take us a minute to get through the last couple seconds here.
I think you're right, Jim.
See, now if you're looking at the screen, you got kind of a cool vision there. That's inside the truck. That's kids in the TV studio, Mount Carmel students that keep this whole thing running. We've got one next to us. There's above us. These guys are all over the place, and that's cool. You don't. We get to see that before and after. We don't really get to see that during the game either. So again, we talk about it often. This is a student-run TV studio, and so all the benefits that you see on a Friday night are courtesy of those kids. The handoff to Schaefer Knights. He'll be bottled up. And Coach Dara is going to use that 3rd and final timeout. So 20 seconds left. The Red Tornadoes lead 28-14 as we go into the end of the first half. On 4th and about 6.
And now, Jim, question for you. If you are coaching the Shikellamy team,
I'm not punting this.
No
chance.
I am going to send my punt team out there. I am going to tell Kuntz to take the snap and try to kind of bait the Red Tornadoes into the fact that, yes, I am going to punt it, but I'm going to try and take as much time off that clock as possible. I will run sideline to sideline until somebody tackles me to try and run this clock out.
Well, if you were busy last Sunday at 4:25, when the Bills beat the Chiefs, you noticed Josh Allen, at the end of that game, he took a couple extra steps back before he kneeled for the victory.
In the victory formation,
right,
yeah.
Just to kind of kill the clock a little bit more. But we'll see. They are going to punt it.
And the Red Tornadoes are obviously going to bring pressure.
And it's a snap to Wetzel, who's got Snyder, but a good open field tackle made by Diaz. So they do go with the fake punt, but the Red Tornadoes are going to have 1st and 10 with 14 seconds left, and they're going to have their junior signal caller, Spears, in there for the last 14 seconds here. You got
Jim, I'm seeing Verano and Farinato both on the field, so you know what that means. We see them both out there is we're going to spread things out a little bit.
It's time
to open things up.
Good opportunity for a shot play?
I'd say so, yeah. The Braves running their best prevent defense.
And the Red Tornadoes have trouble with the snap. The clock stops. I'm not.
Yeah, the Braves.
The Braves recover the football.
That ball, yeah.
And so now we'll get to see if Coach, I'd say Coach Kaiser, but I believe we were informed earlier it's Coach Freeman, the defensive coordinator, on the sideline for the Braves. We'll see what he wants to do here. Now you could take the knee.
Yeah, now's a situation where you can kneel on the ball pretty comfortably.
Right. But now the risk of not doing it is also mitigated because the Red Tornadoes are out of timeouts.
And they are not going to take a knee.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
No, absolutely not. I would let Wentz throw the ball, or Wetzel, sorry, throw the ball as far as he can.
He looks a little bit like Wentz.
Yeah, he does.
A delay a game against the Braves.
So now he's going to have to throw it a little bit further.
It's taken about 15 minutes to get through the last 2 minutes of this half.
Yeah, I'd say to get through the last about 44 seconds, I believe it was at.
So Wetzel drops. He's under pressure from Shikellamy. He throws it up. And he'll overthrow Packer, who's covered pretty well by Farinado and Verano. But we still got 6 seconds on the clock, so you're going to have another shot here.
Maybe a little hook and lateral? Or the annexation of Puerto Rico? What else we got, Little Giants, that we can pull out here?
Or you just, if you're using Little Giants, just a simple pitch to Johnny.
Yeah.
Although I don't know that they got a Johnny. Pitch to Isaac.
Yeah. Seems to work for him occasionally.
Turbo Ortiz, he's back on the field, and he's the personal protector for Wetzel right now, so it's good to see him back. They come fast and heavy, and it's incomplete, but there's a flag. So I was watching the clock. The clock hit zeros.
And if this flag is if it's defensive holding, that's one thing, but it's for pass interference. I don't really understand the call because the ball was overthrown so much it's uncatchable.
It's a pass interference call, so we're going to get an untimed down here, Dan.
Yeah, we are. And with the way that this last few minutes have gone, it makes sense.
Yeah. Let's play a little football with the clock not moving.
Yeah.
So the penalty will be walked off all the way down to the 48-yard line. So certainly from what we've seen of Wetzel, I have no doubt he can get this ball into the end zone. The question is, with the way Nestico and Shikellamy were coming off the edges, is he going to have enough time?
Right.
And they run a draw play.
Straight to Nestico.
And Schaefer's going to be tackled. So that's how the first half is going to end. It's been a surprising half for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it's 28-14 Mount Carmel. We'll be back shortly with stats from Jose in the second half. Stay with us. Hello and welcome back to the Silver Bowl. It's 28-14. The Red Tornadoes on top of the Shikellamy Braves after the first half of play. It's been an interesting one for sure. We've seen a lot of fun and exciting stuff going on. But Dan, as is often the case, Jose was kind enough to provide us some stats that give a little context to what we saw. Can you talk us through those?
So for the Red Tornadoes in the first half, 25 rushing attempts for an even 100 yards.
Okay.
4 of 11 passing for 66 yards, 11 first downs, translates to that 28 points up there on the scoreboard. And then on the Shikellamy side, 10 rushing attempts for 91 yards, 8 of 19 passing for 100 yards. So we've got the Red Tornadoes at 166 and the Shikellamy Braves at 191 total yardage. So right now, the Red Tornadoes the Braves are, Red Tornadoes are ahead on the scoreboard. Sorry, but the Braves are ahead in the stat column there.
You said 166 yards in total.
For the Big Red, that's correct.
And for the Braves?
191.
191.
Yes, sir.
152 of those come on 2 plays.
Right, and that's the thing. You know, we look at the stats. 10 carries for 91 yards for Shikellamy. So that's 1 carry for 90 yards and a touchdown, and 9 carries for that to accumulate that other 1 yard. So the Red Tornadoes really have not allowed a sustained drive from the Braves, but it's been their big play ability that's kept them in this game.
So we'll see the Red Tornado offense first here to start the second half. Again, tonight's broadcast is sponsored by Winnie the Pooh Daycare and Preschool, so we want to thank them for their help. We've got something interesting going on here in the third quarter. We'll talk about it in just a minute. But you look at the sideline, Dan. Red Tornadoes, they got the jackets out.
It's getting a little cool down there.
So we'll see what goes on. Yeah, we started the game time temperature. It was about 55 degrees at kickoff. It's dropped down to about 46, so it's changing a little bit here. We're in late October. It'll happen.
Yeah, that will happen. I believe we're going to see 60s, mid-60s around this weekend, though, Jim. So the weather's going to be an uptick. It's Pennsylvania October weather, kind of what you expect.
And as we look at the sideline here, starting to get ready. One thing I think we were talking about a little bit at halftime was some scores from around the area. There's some big games going on, especially up in the northern tier tonight.
Absolutely.
So, Dan, do you have any updates on those?
Well, we'll start with the area teams. We'll leave you in suspense a little bit here. We got North Schuylkill is currently on top of Salisbury at the half, 35-0. We've got Selinsgrove up 21-0 on Montoursville.
Okay.
Danville 65-0 on Bellefonte. Lewisburg's up 21-10 on Bloomsburg. Shamokin 45-7 against Greater Nanticoke, and Southern Columbia 41-14 over Wyoming area. But the games that
Can we go back for a second?
Okay.
Lewisburg and Bloomsburg. What was that score?
Lewisburg is on top 21-10 in the third quarter.
Lewisburg coming in tonight 1-7.
Yes.
So that's
and
a big.
Bloomsburg sitting in the 4 seed.
They're at 5-3.
I believe. Yeah. So that's a big one from Lewisburg. But now we'll get to the games that we want to know the score for, that seeding purposes. Loyalsock now ahead of Troy, 21-14 in the third quarter. And the last I checked, Jersey Shore up 21-0 on Canton, but I'll get an update here. Still 21-0 on Canton.
And while you do that, the Braves try to start the half with an onside kick, but a nice job over there by 39. Michael Kimsel jumping on the onside kick attempt, so it'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes at midfield. And they've started quite a few drives at midfield.
Yeah, they've had some really good starting field position for their offensive series throughout this game. And now we'll see what the Red Tornadoes decide to do offensively. They've kind of had a good mixture of run-pass throughout the whole first half, but it seemed like they've had a little bit more success in the run game.
They'll come out with the ones, as expected. Marshalik hands off to Farinato. And again, that play that's been so good to the Red Tornadoes for so long just isn't there tonight, as a nice tackle is made by number 4, Ethan Turber-Ortiz.
Yeah, and that's a testament to the Braves' defense. They've done a really good job kind of rallying to that and not allowing the Red Tornado offensive front to kind of root them out and give Farinato that cut inside or the edge.
2nd and 9. And it'll be Diaz this time. And again, just nothing in the middle. He'll get down to around the 47. He's going to bring up 3rd and 7.
So we'll see now that Marshall probably going to have the opportunity to put the ball in the air here, because this is this is a big drive for the Red Tornadoes. You got a 2-score lead coming out of the half. You want to extend that. You get the ball at halftime, first possession. You want to get points.
Verano's in there for Farinado. Diaz goes in motion. Marshall's looking. He's got Diaz, who does a good job staying in bounds and then ducking out of bounds, avoiding any real contact, but not before he picks up the first down. So a good ball delivered by Marshall.
Jim, I think that's the first time all year, at least, that we've seen the ball thrown to the wheel route. We've seen a lot of swing passes to Diaz in the backside of the backfield, just quick hitters. But that was more of a wheel where he let Diaz get downfield, kind of get beyond that first line, and it paid off well for the Red Tornadoes there. Marshall delivered a good ball and converted that 3rd and long into a first down.
Now it's a pitch to Diaz, and the ball's on the ground. Fortunately, it looks like the Red Tornadoes are going to recover, so they'll maintain possession and fumble forward a little bit there, so they'll gain maybe half a foot.
Yeah, and that's a tough one there for the Red Tornadoes, but you're right, fortunate enough to get on top of that. You could tell who recovered the ball immediately by the reaction of the Shikellamy sideline.
That's where I was looking, absolutely.
Yeah, you saw a little bit of frustration, so you knew that the Red Tornadoes had gotten on it.
So now 2nd and 9, the ball sits at the 33. More problems with the snap. Marshall will fall on it.
And Jim, this could be, it's something just to keep an eye on. As the weather gets colder, your hands start to get cold. It's a little dewy out there on the field, so it's not always easy. And this is the first time the Red Tornadoes have had to kind of play in this type of game with the chillier weather, the wetness on the ball. It's proved to be causing some problems tonight.
Widener comes to the sideline. Verano out, split out wide left, so it's 2 to the left. The single receiver to the right is Farinado, and Marshall's going to throw. He's going to look for Schultz, who tries to go over Packer and back towards the line of scrimmage. Can't make the play, so now it's going to be 4th down. And you'd think you've got a punt here, but I still don't see Yagadin. There he is. All right.
There goes the punt team. So credit to the Shikellamy Braves defense for standing up there and turning the Red Tornadoes away, not allowing them to get points here to start the second half.
And unfortunately, we've seen this a few times this season for various reasons, but the Red Tornadoes are kind of their own worst enemy there.
Yeah.
They're more effective at stopping themselves than most defense. It's a low snap, but Yagadinski does a good job. It's a high kick. Snyder's going to let it go over his head. And it's going to bounce into the end zone. Verano gives it everything he's got to keep it out. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 20 for the Braves.
Yeah, it was a valiant effort there from Verano, but you're right. Unfortunately, rolled underneath him there into the end zone, so won't net a whole lot of yardage there for Yagodinski, but all in all, a good punt from Drew.
So they'll go back to that initial unit that started the game for the defense with Jack Robert over the center. And again, Chicatano and Nestico, the other 2 interior defensive linemen with Bailey and Schultz, those outside linebackers / DNs. Wetzel to throw. There's some confusion there between Packer and Snyder.
Yeah, they kind of ran into each other there. And it looked like, Wetzel could have just been kind of cutting his losses and throwing the ball away there, but the direction that he threw it looked like he was looking for one of those guys to kind of break back towards the sideline, more like a pinwheel out type of route where there was some open space there if one of the receivers had gotten there.
Now it's 2nd down, and Wetzel's in the slot to the right. Snyder's going to take the snap. And he's going to hand the ball off, but they're going to be thrown down immediately.
Chicatano, I think, was first man on the scene there.
And at the 25, Derek Turbo Ortiz for a loss of about 2.
Yeah, it's a really good job by the Red Tornadoes. Sometimes when you see the quarterback go out to a wide receiver position or a slot spot, it makes you think that there's going to be a double pass, some sort of trickery going on. But the Red Tornadoes said there's not going to be any opportunity to get that done because we're just going to get to you as soon as you hand the ball off.
Wetzel back, and he hands it to Schaefer Ortiz, who's going to be met in the hole and stuck. That's Farinato. Nope, it's Ferrano. It's going to get up off the bottom of that one. Sometimes the only way I can tell is, okay.
Find the other one.
One of them's on the ground.
Right.
I don't know if that's a 4 or a 14. Let me find the other guy.
Yeah, that was. And the Red Tornadoes answer the Shikellamy Braves defense making a big stop to start the second half with a stop of their own to get the ball back for their offense.
Verano and Farinato standing just inside Red Tornado territory as they wait Kuntz's punt. It's a good snap. He's going to get it out. It's going to be fielded by Farinato. He's got some room to work now. He's going to get up the sideline and be driven back by Snyder and Schaefer Knights. But not before he returns it to, well, let's see. The official on our side is standing at the 36.
It looks like they're going to put him at like the 37, 38.
Yeah.
Looks more like the 38, I think.
So
Spot on the other side there.
Not too far from where the Red Tornadoes' last drive ended.
And again, great field position for the Red Tornadoes to start a drive here. And we see Spears back at the helm at quarterback.
It'll be Diaz in the backfield with Spears. Widener's in the slot to the right. Verano comes off the wing. And that's Diaz up the middle. Schaefer Knights stops him about the 33.
Yeah, Diaz has a burst, Jim. It's impressive. A little bit of commotion in the backfield there, but as soon as he decided that he was going to move forward and he picked kind of a hole that he was going to run through, he did it quickly.
And again, just a really nice job by the Braves up the middle.
Yeah, they haven't allowed much for the Red Tornadoes where they normally have a ton of success.
And there's Verano up the middle off that handoff, that inside trap. And he'll get not much. In fact, they're not going to move the stick at all. We'll be back to the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be 3rd and 5.
And again, now the Red Tornadoes are going to stay tight. You see Widener's still out there on the field, but third and medium situation, it's 4 down territory. Do you want to try and get a few yards and have an easier 4th down play, or you want to go for the shot on this one?
Going to pitch it to Diaz and try to get him on the edge. He's going to sneak out of bounds and be very close to the 1st down. We'll have to see.
They're going to mark him just short.
About a yard short.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Spears come to the sideline and Blessing head in.
That's exactly what you've got. Spears is coming to the sideline. And it'll be Blessing and Bailey. I saw Bailey move first.
Yeah, yeah. That's usually a good indicator, though.
Game of 4 brings up a 3rd and 1 for the Red Tornadoes.
So again, it'll be that heavy right package. Lamas, Nestico, Schultz on the line. Widener and Farinato just off. Blessing takes a snap. He's going to go behind Bailey, and he's going to jump over the pile. He should have the first. He'll have the 1st down, but again, as has been the case so often tonight, just barely stopped from taking it the distance.
Yeah, and for sure. But again, the credit to the Shikellamy Braves defense. They give up the 1st down, but they don't give up much more than that. Jim, I like to see. We saw it last year from Julian Steller in the district championship game, and maybe Coach Dara is going to keep it in his back pocket. But I like to see them add a little wrinkle with Blessing, maybe give him an opportunity for a jump pass.
Spears is going to throw. He's got Diaz short. Spears is incomplete. Spears had kind of his pick of the litter on that one. There were a couple Red Tornadoes running open in the field.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody was they were kind of flooding the Red Tornado sideline, heading towards the sideline. And there were a couple options out there. Unfortunately, Spears just a little bit short on that pass, wasn't able to get it out there.
Nice job by the offensive line, providing a nice clean pocket. for Spears. We got 5:46 left in the third quarter. Still 28-14 Red Tornadoes. Spears is going to throw again. He's got Schultz open in the middle of the field. And it's a touchdown, Red Tornadoes. 27 yards, Spears to Schultz. That's their second connection of the night. And it's 34-14 Mount Carmel.
Yeah, Jim, the hardest part about that one, at least on this Red Tornado sideline, you heard the breath come out of people because they knew Schultz was open. He got behind the defense, but he had to kind of wait for that one because he got out there so deep that the Braves defenders were bearing down on Schultz as he reeled that one in. But great job as that came over the top of one of the Braves' helmets. Schultz was able to find it and reel it in for 6.
Jagodinski's kick is up and good. So it's 35-14 now. And, you know, that's interesting because you see Schultz, he takes that, he kind of turns his back to the end zone, kind of gets low and makes that reception and almost protects himself as he goes.
Yeah.
And if only we had, you know, a state championship winning receiver here to maybe talk us through some of the mindset that goes. So we talked a little bit earlier today about who we might have. Might have a little surprise for everybody out there. We're fortunate enough to be joined by Josh Clea tonight. Hey, Josh, how's it going?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
It's great. It's good to have you here. We wanted to get Josh up. Of course, Josh does a lot of things in the community. The big thing, one of the big things we wanted to bring him up is there's a big spread you put on this week for all kinds of kids. The players, the band, the TV studio.
Yep.
And so we just wanted to kind of thank you, of course, for that. Obviously, you've got a lot going on in the community. You know, you've been here a long time, right? You've been here your whole life. You're a well-known commodity around here. So I'd be curious to kind of get your thoughts as you see this Red Tornado team 8-0. You're a state champion. What do you see from these kids maybe today that's similar to what you saw and maybe a little bit different from what you experienced?
A little bit of take today is the kids do so much behind the scenes. The schooling, the homework, recitals, plays, band, cheerleaders. There's no off season. These kids work tirelessly. And what you see on Friday nights and on a random Tuesday, with every sport, our kids put in a lot of time. So I was fortunate enough to be a part of a good group of guys to put on a meal for them on Wednesday. And it's to say thank you for what they do. Like I said, what you see here is the culmination, but the effort that they put in behind the scenes and when nobody's watching, and they get to be vulnerable and insecure and really put their time in, and it's a testament to their parents and the community, and we're all hard-nosed working people here. And these kids tonight are doing a heck of a job, and the season's rolling along nicely, and the community's behind them. So that's what we're here for.
And anybody that knows you and knows what you put back into this community knows you've got a real focus on training, agility, those kinds of things. Was that something that was going on in this area 20 years ago when you were playing high school? Like, how did you kind of get involved in that aspect of athletics?
Well, being a part of sports is a chance of a lifetime, so you don't want that time to end. So
right.
Coaching takes a lot of time, but to still stay at home and be with the family and make sure my boys can grow up in a good area, giving back to the community allows me to work with athletes, and we do speed and agility, and what you see in the performances is the tireless effort, like I said, that goes into it. Competitive advantage, and just the athletes wanting to do the best they can, and they're willing to do all the work that's necessary. Athletes have talent, athletes have God-given abilities, but that only gets you so far.
Right.
The separation occurs when the athletes put in the effort, and the community stands behind them, the administration stands behind them, and we got great people around here trying to revitalize, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Building relationships with everybody from top to bottom is one of my driving forces, and you see that going on in our community. Our kids are respectful, they're mannerly, they're polite, and they're thankful for every opportunity they get, and their work speaks for itself.
Braves come out of the timeout there. It'll be Snyder off the left side. He's going to lose a yard or two. Looks like Schultz was first on scene. But yeah, Josh, it's interesting because we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week. And I think what's so cool about kind of some of the stuff you've got going on is you do have that support. And you've talked about parents and kids and administration and all that kind of stuff. So from your perspective, again, we talked about it. That wasn't necessarily something that was going on at Mount Carmel 20 years ago. How did you kind of come back and think, hey, did you see that at Susquehanna? or where did that come from, your interest in all this?
Well, over the last 15, 20 years, the kind of scheme and athletics takes over, where athletes in space make plays like we just saw right there.
Right, speaking of athletes in space making plays,
So-
exactly. Diaz comes back and intercepts that football. It'll be 1st and 10. Red Tornadoes just outside, just inside the 40. It'll be 39. But there is a Red Tornado down. I'm not sure.
Process of elimination here, Jim. It looks like it might be Nestico, but we'll have to verify that.
Yeah, so while we have here a minute here, so again, Josh, we talked about a little bit your experience. So you saw it at Susquehanna. Now, being that Coach Dara also played at the next level at Wilkes, do you find that coaches that have a better understanding of kind of some of the stuff you do and are supportive?
I think when we were kind of getting out of our college careers, the dynamics changed. You want your athletes athletic, even your skill kids to your big men. An athlete's attractive based on their size and their power and strength, but speed is power, moving fast. So if your big boys are big, but they can also move and footwork and technique, it changes the landscape. But bigger kids back in the day really got the eyesight, and they were a lot of attention on them. Nowadays, it's the smaller, more athletic kids that can make some plays out in the open, and it's corny and cliche, but speed kills.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, you're right, because you always used to hear it. Can't teach size, right? That's the big thing, but there's a lot of other stuff you can teach.
Yeah, you look at the kids today, athleticism, explosiveness, acceleration. It just takes over games. One play, one snap, one big moment.
Nestico get up and he'll walk off under his own power.
It's a very welcome sight for the Red Tornadoes.
Of course.
Seeing Nestico take himself off of the field here, so that's good news.
Yeah, so you've got, like you said, you can teach some different things, and obviously it's Friday night. We're here with the Red Tornadoes. They're 8-0. Everybody's excited. But a lot of the stuff that you're talking about, it's not football specific. It doesn't have to be, at least.
No, every athletic person can change the landscape of their performance, in the drop of a dime. Look at basketball and shin angles and being quicker and cutter and aggressive and grindy. So I work with, males and females through our local area. District 4 is a hotbed for talent. We're starting to see that in football primarily, but you look at soccer, you look at, gymnastics, you look at basketball, field hockey. Athletes that put the time in behind the scenes are going to be at an advantage.
Marshall's got Farinata open in the flat. He's going to try to run through Packer. He'll do a pretty good job, but Packer hangs on and will drop him around the 46. But you kind of alluded to it before, but we had the conversation earlier this week. So we're here, we love football, right? We love the Big Red. You're there in August, you're watching doubles, and if the season goes well, you get to play until December. That's a long time that we're not here, but the athletes are.
Every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, I got between 12 and 15 athletes, primarily from Mount Carmel and throughout District 4. And it's not about overtraining, and it's not about doing too much. It's a recovery. It's a injury prevention. It's get the blood flowing, get the oxygen moving, break up the lactic acid. So it's not just all speed and agility and weights and power. It's a lot of plyometrics. And as you see, kids are doing a lot more because there's a lot more that's accessible.
Sure.
And like you were talking about before, parents, the buy-in, administration, the buy-in, schools, the buy-in, community members, the buy-in. They want to see good performances, but the kids have to do the work. And I'll be honest with you, we got a lot of athletes in the area that are willing to do the work. And I give that back to the parents and the support from, top administrators and the superintendent all the way down.
Great catch there by Shikellamy for a first down. It'll be down inside the 30. And so, Josh, it's been great. It's been great having you. We appreciate kind of your support of the program and really the area in general. And if people if anybody was curious kind of about, how they could ask you some more questions about different things, how might they get a hold of you?
I'm on social media, Speed Kills. I don't publicize much. Most of the stuff I post about is about the athletes. They're the highlight. Their success is my reward. And I think, one of my biggest mottos is the relationship building. I'm a big Speed Kills relationship guys with their family and everybody else involved.
And a great adjustment made by Farinata all the way down to the 5. So Marshalik's starting to find the rhythm, getting some help from his receivers. But again, from one receiver on the field to one in the booth, Josh, it's been great to have you. Really appreciate everything. Yeah, anybody's interested, like you said, Josh kind of shared how to get a hold of him. But if there's anything, any questions you have, please make sure you reach out.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks to Mount Carmel School District and Mr. McPhee for giving me a little bit of airtime here to explain and highlight the attitude and the work ethic that goes in behind the scenes with these kids.
And thanks for what you're doing for the kids too. It's always great to see people from the communities sticking with the community and giving back.
I appreciate that, and for those out here in Mount Carmel, we ain't going anywhere. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
And just like that, it's another Red Tornado touchdown. So it's great to see, great to talk to Josh. Great to see the Red Tornadoes succeed on the field. That's Marshalik to Farinata. So we got 2 touchdown passes from Spears tonight, 2 from Marshalik, and it's 41-14 as the Red Tornadoes start to put some distance between themselves and the Braves, Dan.
Yeah, and as this third quarter is slowly starting to wind down here, it seems as though the Red Tornadoes are doing a really good job. Their offense is starting to click. Marshalik, that was by far his best drive of the night. Getting some completions in there, the accuracy, he's kind of starting to settle in and really kind of finding his rhythm.
Jagodinski's kick is up and good, so it's 42-14 now, Red Tornadoes. Again, tonight's broadcast is sponsored by Winnie the Pooh Daycare and Preschool, so we appreciate their support. We appreciate the support you've all given us throughout the year. We talked about it a few times. We're back here at the Silver Bowl, so once again, thank you for your support on the Brick Project. Certainly, I think there's another opportunity at some point tonight to support the Education Foundation as well. You'll be directed to a web page, have an opportunity to kind of elect what type of donation you might be able to make. Anything is greatly appreciated. And then there's some drop downs in there so you can help direct your donation. You can do more general, you can do athletics, TV studio, wink, wink, as we often say.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that, but you can also head out. Oh, we got the QR code on the screen. There is that QR code. See, that's how I keep. You saw those kids, those students in the booth earlier in the truck. All their work, they're probably thinking, "Come on, man, you could have given us a heads up that you were going to talk about that."
But they're always ready. They're always ready. No matter when you bring stuff up, Johnny on the spot. That just like, guys are. The athletes are prepared out there on the field. The students in the TV studio are always prepared for any curveball that we may throw at them.
Snyder's going to return that from the 10. And he had a little room there, but he takes a shot from Widener. So it'll be first down Braves at about the 33-yard line. But yeah, we do appreciate the generosity of our community near and far, what you've done to kind of help support these broadcasts week in and week out, as well as just the general upkeep of the stadium, the TV studio, anything you like. There's the QR code again. Scan that, head out to the website, and keep everything moving here, especially as it starts to get colder and you get to be home.
Yeah, right.
Now, the good news, speaking of home, though, the Red Tornadoes are home tonight. The Red Tornadoes are home next week as well, as the district playoffs start to fill out a little bit, the brackets that is, and we got a nice play there by Nestico and Shimko. So Nestico back in there, and Lamas as well. Excuse me, that wasn't Nestico. It was Lamas and Robert and Shimko. I saw the 7 from Lamas, saw the 1 from Robert, combined. But we should have, there we go again. We're talking more about the students in the truck. So again, I know it looks calm, but I promise you it's anything but.
And everything you're seeing from the camera, the great camera angles you're getting, to the graphics on the screen, everything is student run. The students are doing all this stuff, and it's extremely impressive.
Much like the product you see on the field. But okay, Verano just my goodness. Not often will I say I'm speechless. Verano intercepted that with one hand. Just stole it out of the sky. Look at this.
Yeah, that was impressive. Impressive. And he, not only did he kind of reel it in with one hand, but he still established himself in bounds to confirm the turnover.
And just
go ahead, Jim.
Just as Verano's able, he's able to do that because he practices it, he works on it, he hones his craft. The reason you got to see that replay so quickly is because the students in the truck do the same week in and week out. So it takes a village to kind of run this operation here on the field, off the field, cheerleaders, band. You just know it's all student run, and that's another student running. Widener up the middle down to the 21-yard line for a first down.
Yeah, and if it weren't for Martin, he would have taken that all the way for 6. That was a good job by Martin making the touchdown-saving tackle there.
And I keep waiting for Coach Dare because Widener's a junior. Widener had, coming in tonight, he had 19 carries for 199 yards. And if you look at the Red Tornado top, 8 or 9 rushers, Widener's the only one without a touchdown.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to get one here shortly.
I think so. I think he's due for one for sure. I think he's earned it. Well up over 200 yards rushing now into this game.
And now that one's handed to Zarski off the right side, so he'll get down to near the 15.
Yeah, and you can see it looks as though that big, tough Red Tornado front is finally starting to kind of wear the Shikellamy Braves down. And that's a testament to the Braves because most teams don't make it this far before they get worn down by that big, tough up front. And just to highlight, we talked about Nestico kind of leaving the game earlier. Number 67, Jagger Delaney, in his spot there at right tackle.
And Zarski again off the right side. He's close to the first down.
Yeah, it's a good run there. And wow, I really did think Zarski got the first down on that one. So it looks like they spot him a little bit short. We talk about it sometimes, the angles.
That's what it is.
Far side of the field.
And so Lukoski's in there now as Farinato and Verano stand on the sideline. And it's going to be Widener right up the middle. He's going to have the first down. He'll get all the way down to the 5-yard line. So the clock will stop momentarily with the first down with 21.9 seconds on the clock. And now they're going to wind it.
And Jim, he's working hard. I think he knows what that stat column's missing there next to his name is that TD. So I think he wants to get his first one of the year as well.
Red Tornadoes are up on the ball quick. They didn't have to snap it, but they're going to try to get another play in. And it is Widener again. He's not going to get in on that one, but that's going to end the third quarter. So we got 12 minutes left here, but it's 42-14 Red Tornadoes. And while we have a break in our action, seems like a good time to check on action elsewhere in District 4.
Yeah, we'll take a look here. Troy currently on top of Loyalsock, 29-28 in the third quarter. So that game is a good one. Loyalsock is tough, Jim.
Well, and they've been in some games. They lost 17-14 to Danville, I think, right? They've been in some tight ones
with some good teams.
With some good teams, for sure.
Yeah, so and that's they defeated Southern Columbia earlier in the year, who is currently ahead of Wyoming area 48-21 in the fourth quarter. The Selinsgrove is still ahead of Montoursville 21-7. Lewisburg 21-16 ahead of Danville in the fourth quarter. So Bloomsburg slowly making a comeback.
Bloomsburg ahead of Bloomsburg. Not
yes,
Danville.
yeah, sorry. North Schuylkill up 35-7. Shamokin 46-14. And Danville 65-0 final against Bellefonte. But the other game we want to look at here is Jersey Shore again. We want to see Jersey Shore because they're playing Canton, and it is now 23-0 Jersey Shore ahead of Canton in the fourth quarter. And the reason we want to keep an eye on that one, Canton is going to be playing Troy next week.
Right.
So if Troy's able to pull off a win against Loyalsock, Canton, who up to this point was 8-0, it's looking more like they're going to go in 8-1 against Troy next week. But Troy possibly 9-0, and that's a seeding thing for us.
It's Widener, not quite, down to the 1. And yet, Dan, you forget how far north District 4 reaches. You forget about it right up until you have to go up there.
Right. Yeah.
Right up until you look at district playoffs and seedings, and you go, oh no, we've got to go to Canton if you're a single A team, or you got to go to Troy or wherever it is.
Troy, Towanda, those teams up north there.
But if you look at the northern tier tonight, you had 2 games up there between Canton, Jersey Shore, Loyal Sock, and Troy.
Yep.
Teams were combined 31-1, excuse me. Widener still shy.
Just short. He keeps getting closer. I think they're going to just do it 4 plays in a row. Give him one more opportunity, because realistically, even if you don't convert, you don't get 6 points here, your defense is in a great position.
Yep. So, yeah, but those 4 teams, like I was saying, 31-1.
Yeah.
With Loyal Sock's only loss coming 17. Loyal Sock, the only team of those 4 with a loss, and it's 17-14 to the buzzsaw Danville.
Yeah, undefeated Danville, who we mentioned, beat Belfont 65-0 tonight.
And they try the direct snap, and now here we go. The Red Tornadoes have problems with the snap. And number 4, that's Ethan Turbo Ortiz. He's going to get run down by Lukoski. So what a play by Lukoski, who just ran about 90 yards to track him down.
Yeah, that's an effort play there by Lukoski. But you're right, that ball comes out. It's kind of rolling around there. As you can see, again, the great camera angles, the quick instant replay. Because we're, at least personally, I wasn't really sure where that ball came out at. And it was just initially, it kind of got kicked around by a few guys. And then Turbo Ortiz was able to pick it up and return it and put the Braves in a really good field position here to try to shorten this lead.
And let's just go back again. It's 42-14 Red Tornadoes. They fumble the ball at the 1-yard line.
Yes.
Lukoski's going to make the tackle, 85 yards downfield. But Marshalik and Zarski are right there as well.
Yeah.
So the Red Tornadoes had 3 of their guys go, no, we've got a nice lead. We're not giving up points.
Right.
So
we're going to run this one down. We're not just going to – you're going to have to earn the 6 if you want it.
And Schaefer Knights is going to try to get it. He'll get inside the 10, and he's still on his feet. And he's going to take a shot from Farinato, but he's in. So it is touchdown, Schaefer Knights. His second of the night, and it's 42-20 now with 10:19 left in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and that's an effort play there from Schaefer Knights. He did a really good job kind of bouncing off tacklers, got spun around, and then the effort at the end to reach across the goal line as he took a shot. But really good job, kind of working his way for the 6 points. And he said if the Red Tornadoes are going to make us earn it, we're going to earn it.
It's a high snap over the head of Snyder. So it'll remain 42-20 Red Tornadoes. So we talked about a couple things tonight. We talked about the Education Foundation. We talked about Supper Club. We had Josh Clea in. It's been a pretty exciting night. Talked about the Brick Project and your support for that. Again, whatever you're doing in the community, just keep doing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep everything rolling. It's a great time of the year. Make sure you get out here next. Of course, next week is the game. We talked about the rivalry that's developed over the years with Southern and the idea of the backyard brawl. But you'll see it plastered everywhere, probably starting, maybe Sunday. Maybe we'll get tomorrow.
Be a day of a break.
Tomorrow we'll get a recap of tonight, but starting Sunday, it'll be nothing but the coal bucket as Shamokin heads to Mount Carmel and will attempt to break a streak that's a decade and a half of the Red Tornadoes hanging on to the coal bucket. Jose will have everything for us throughout the week, I'm sure, of what all the important stats and figures are. But so be ready for that. If you're not here with us tonight in person at the Silver Bowl, make sure you get here next Friday for that one. Yeah,
and it's always fun playing that coal bucket game here at the Silver Bowl for the Red Tornadoes, for the fans. You're going to see these stands. It's going to be standing room only here on the Red Tornado sideline, and most likely on the Indian sideline as well next week. It's always a big game. I harp on it. I think I remember it was actually dubbed a Great American Rivalry a few years ago, when Johnny Ayers was still on the team here. So now you see the Red Tornadoes prepared for the onside kick.
And look, it looks like that Zarski back deep, the lone man. And they're going to kick it to him, so he's going to come up and catch this on a fly. Does a good job getting upfield. He'll get out to almost the 40-yard line, so nice return there by Zarski.
Yeah, good job there. And, being kind of prepared for that. When you're the lone man back there, it's a lot of ground to cover, but luckily for Zarski, it seemed they kicked it pretty much right in his direction, so he was able to field it cleanly and put together a nice little return.
So see the Red Tornadoes making some changes, not all the changes. Like you said, Jagger Delaney in there, but Lamas, Langton, Geary, and Shimko still remain. Belichick is one tight end. Bailey's in at the spot that Widener was in before, but we'll give it to Zarski. And get 2 on the play.
Yeah, the offensive line looks pretty similar. Doesn't look like there were many changes up front there outside of the tight ends.
Belichick and Bradley, okay.
And you got Bailey at the fullback spot.
We just heard an announcement over the PA here that the Jersey Shore game went final, so they did defeat Canton 23-0. Now Lukowski's got the edge. He'll get the first down and out of bounds, just inside midfield.
And man, he's got to be tired. He's got to
Yeah,
be tired.
right.
He was able to run down Turbo Ortiz after the fumble just a few plays ago, and then he goes all the way across the field down the far sideline for a first down. But Lukowski, we talked about the speed on this Red Tornado team. Lukowski probably can compete with Diaz. They're probably running sprints together in practice.
So pitch to Zarski. Going to try to find some space. Not a whole lot there, as again, the Braves have done a pretty good job of bottling up the Red Tornado rushing attack.
Yeah, they have, and we've talked about it throughout this whole entire season, and from going through the 3 different quarterbacks for the Red Tornadoes, they've all done a fantastic job, and that's the positive thing, that the Red Tornadoes have more of a dual threat offense this year than they have in years past. They've been putting the ball in the air a lot more, and with success.
There's a direct snap to Bailey that time, who does a nice job of hanging on to it. Now the Red Tornadoes, Dan, you talked about that dual threat attack, and we mentioned Spears had thrown for 513 yards coming into tonight. Belichick had 538. Marshalik had 253. The Red Tornadoes also had 9 different guys who had rushed for at least 100 yards. Lukowski and Zarski being 2 of them.
Yeah, so not only a dual threat, but a lot of teams can be called dual threat, but this is a legitimate dual threat offense. They can throw it, they can run it. They don't turn the ball over very often, and they do a really good job at everything.
Marshall will keep that one himself. It's going to be 3rd and short. We're under 8 minutes. But yeah, and the offense, I think you can be critical and you can nitpick different times where you think over the last couple weeks, different times that the Red Tornado offense has maybe left points on the board with ill-timed fumbles. But it shouldn't take away from the fact that as Jose's pointed out to us, and we appreciate everything he does all the time. So we'll pause here. It's Zarski on 4th and 1. He's not going to get it. It's going to be first down, Braves going the other way. But as Jose's pointed out, this offense scored 345 points through the first 8 games. That's the most ever by a Red Tornado team.
Wow.
Again, we hammer it. The Red Tornadoes have played football for 130 years. We're 7.5 minutes. If the Red Tornadoes are able to hold on to this lead for another 7.5 minutes, they'll have won 887 games. This is not a school that's unfamiliar with success.
Right.
And these teams continue to just kind of set these offensive records. Again, 345 yards as we get a timeout here from the Braves as they try to make some changes. 345 points. And the 2008 team had 344, but before that it was 1969.
Wow.
In 50 years.
And the other thing, Jim, is 475 yards of offense last week against Southern Columbia. That was the most ever by a Red Tornado team against Southern Columbia. And that rivalry has been going on for quite some time as well. So that's a pretty impressive stat. But you talk about how the offensive prowess. I mean, as we look down our stat sheet, and this is before tonight, Marshalik, 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Belichick, 538 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Spears, 513 yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So coming into the night, 16 passing touchdowns. And then you look down the rushing stats. 7 touchdowns for Diaz, 9 for Blessing, 4 for Farinato, 3 for Spears, 2 for Verano, 2 for Zarski, 1 for Lukoski. It's so impressive just how many guys there are that get involved and make plays.
As Wetzel tries to go deep to Snyder there, and it falls incomplete. So it'll be 2nd and 10. But yeah, you're right, Dan. That's a credit to Coach Dara as well.
Yeah.
It always makes it a point to kind of spread the wealth.
Yeah, they definitely spread the ball around. No matter what point of the game it is either, there's always different guys touching the ball. Verano, at the beginning of games, even in close games, Verano and Farinato, they rotate back and forth. Diaz and Blessing rotate in and out, along with Zarski. There's so many different guys.
Yeah, and speaking of different guys in there, the Red Tornadoes have a few new faces on defense. Jack Robert, he'll stay over the center. The left tackle, Shimp goes in there and Verano does something that you don't often say. He has one go through his hands, but that's because he had nothing but green space in front of him. He saw 6.
Yeah, he was looking for another pick 6. And I think that one, unfortunately for Verano, couldn't haul it in, but that would have been the record breaker. I believe if we look back to a few weeks ago, he tied 3 interceptions returned for touchdowns. Still tied at the top of the leaderboard, but he's going to be looking for one going through the rest of this season.
Shimp going at the left tackle. Logan Erbs in at the right tackle, number 55. Bradley's in their defensive end, which he's played throughout the night. And just like that, Erb and Yagodinsky in on a tackle. The left end is now number 29, Ben Miller.
Yep.
And it looks like Blessing is in for Reed at inside linebacker, with Lukoski on the corner that Diaz had previously occupied.
Yeah, so, and again, we talk about offensively how it's kind of a plug and play. It doesn't matter who you put in there, they have success. Defensively, Lukoski was gone after on the very first play of this drive and did a really good job in coverage, forcing an incompletion. Now we see Wetzel split out wide.
Yeah, Snyder will take the snap and a wildcat on 4th down, and he's not going to get the first. I saw Robert in there with a handful of jersey. We'll see what other Red Tornadoes deserve some credit there, but my goodness, a great play there for the defense to stand and get the offense back on the field. Shimko getting up off the bottom of the pile as well.
Yeah, that was a huge defensive play there for the Red Tornadoes. We talked about the different guys being in there, making an impact, making their presence known. That's what you want to do when you get your opportunities to get on the field. You want to make your presence known. When it's film day tomorrow and it's early morning, you're watching film, you want to make sure that you get a big check mark in the box, a little bit of kudos from the coaching staff.
Now we're going to have a bit of a roll call here on offense as the new quarterback is Lukoski. Snap goes over his head. He does a good job of just falling on it. But we've got, while Lukoski was in there before, we've got some new jerseys. I think that was Kimzel standing to his right.
Yep, I see 54, Caden Hine in there. Number 7, Tate Adams.
60, Jabari Kine. 17, Orville Fesniak. We talked about Delaney in there.
Liam Bradley's in the sidecar there with Lukoski.
I think the tackle on the left side is Shiganoski, 76.
Yes, that's correct.
So we'll get a timeout, Braves. 6:01 left here in the 4th quarter, 42-20 Red Tornadoes. As we sit and we wait for an update on Loyal Sock to see what's going on up at the northern tier. Again, that one's got the Canton Jersey Shore game is interesting because they were both 8-0. Canton's a single A school, Jersey Shore quad A. So you're just kind of curious how that's going to shape out. The Loyal Sock Troy game is a little more direct, as Troy's currently seated second in District 4 for Class 2A, right behind your Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, now this game has not gone final quite yet, but it's been in the fourth quarter for a while. And now the Loyal Sock Township Lancers lead Troy 36-35.
Oh my goodness.
So this game has been a back and forth, and we'll have to see. And actually, it's funny, Jim, as soon as you pull up to kind of follow along, there's kind of a message board on ScoreStream.
Yeah.
And one of the messages has a big red tornado in it, and it says, "Let's go Loyal Sock." So
after the fumble, Lukoski will take the snap and keep it himself. They'll get the ball back to the 47, still shy of the initial line of scrimmage, so it'll be 3rd and 14 here. And they're going to hand it to Fesniak, who's met in the backfield by number 6, Miguel Ocasio-Pagan. A nice play made to bring up 4th down for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, we'll see what the Red Tornadoes opt to do. Usually at this point of the game, they're going to stay offense on the field, but with the extended down and distance, they're going to send the punt team out, which is always fun to watch. You see the coats coming off, guys coming off the sideline to kind of get the right personnel out there. See if they can do it in time.
Yeah, it was 5 seconds here left on the play clock. A good snap. It's a low snap, but Yagodinsky fields it well and unloads that one. It's end over end, returnable by Snyder. Bobbles it for a second, but now he's got some room. He's in the open field. Yagodinsky's the only one that can stop him, and of course, as sure a tackler as we've got in a red jersey, Yagodinsky. So a nice return by Snyder. Will be stopped. See where they mark it.
I'm not sure it's entirely going to matter because there's a flag well behind the return.
I still don't see the flag. I'll take your word for it.
Right around the 40-yard line there.
There you go.
You can see it sitting there. Looks like a banana peel.
That guy looks like a block in the back that was called against the Braves. So, yep, it'll be walked off from. Oh, I see it now, Dan.
Yeah.
Now I got you. It was a very, very flat flag. Oh, that's a hold.
Well, either way, 10-yard penalty from the spot. So.
Well, it was a block first. It was a block in the back first, and it looked like a bit of a hold, so it'll go back to the 30. And unfortunately, that's kind of how things have gone for the Braves tonight. They've had some big plays, but they've had some struggles as well. They've kind of come through and played tough, which I think is really all you can ask.
Yeah. And with 4.5 minutes left to go, I think they're going to just try and put another score up on the board. Leave here with on a positive note.
Wetzel's going to hand it off to Turbo Ortiz. It's Derek Turbo Ortiz out to the 35, tackled by Miller.
And then we'll see. Again, no rush. The Braves kind of making some changes in and out, as are the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, 66, Gavin Demko now a part of the defensive line.
Number 21, Bennett Williams, is in there at corner.
A couple other jerseys. Give us a second here. We'll get them. Turbo Ortiz off the right side again. Number 9, Hunter Boblik. And 54, Caden Hine. Getting some duty on defense as well.
Not sure if you mentioned him earlier. Number 31, Andrew Adams, was in there on that tackle on that one.
I think 26, Aiden Dietz, is at the far defensive end position. And 27, Brady Walkowski at safety along with Kimzel. think that's everybody.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is Dietz. Yes, it is. That's 26.
Wetzel the throw. Incomplete. It was good coverage over there by Adams on number 19, Tucker Miller. So it's going to be 4th and about 5 for
And
the
Wetzel
Braves.
was under pressure there from Logan Erb, who did a really good job kind of bearing down on Wetzel as he let it go.
So we'll see. We got 3:02 left. The clock is stopped on the incomplete pass. 4th and 5. The Braves will open it up a little bit. It'll be a 3-receiver set to the left, a single receiver to the right. Wetzel will stay in the shotgun. And he's going to hand it off to Turbo Ortiz. He's going to be flung down by Demko, short of the first down. So the Red Tornadoes are going to take over 1st and 10 at the Brave 40-yard line.
Okay, I was second guessing a little bit there because the far official seemed like he was giving them enough for the first down there, but the official on the Red Tornado sideline here, the near sideline, was all over it.
It's all about confidence.
First down the other way.
The official on the near sideline had a lot. He was pointing in the Red Tornado direction with a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
So I was kind of riding with him.
Yeah, he sold it well.
He did. See if any other changes to the Red Tornadoes. I don't think so. Well, looks like, actually, check that. Number 48, Seth Barron in there as a tight end for the Red Tornadoes
And
now.
number 7, Tate Adams, taking the snaps.
He hands off to Kimzel. You get about a yard.
So we see as Tate Adams takes the snaps there, Lukoski bumps back to the wing spot where we're used to seeing him at.
Kimzel's going to come out. He's going to be replaced by number 40, Thomas Berezovsky. 2nd and 9, 2.5 left. Lukoski's going to take the handoff. He's going to get a good block from Berezovsky and try to get the corner. Diving effort made by Nick Bradigan to bump Lukoski out of bounds and take out an official in the chain gang for good measure.
And we'll see. Checking on the Loyal Sock and Troy score here. Still reporting as 4th quarter, 36-35 Lancers. We haven't had it reported as final just yet, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And hopefully we can get a final before we're out of here for tonight.
Adams keeps it himself, so on 3rd down he's going to get over the 35, the 34. And we've talked a lot. We had the opportunity to kind of show you behind the scenes a little bit, the inner workings of the truck. So we really want to talk about some of the students that you saw and some of the ones that you don't, that you just get to appreciate the hard work they do.
Yeah.
So on camera tonight, we've got Lucas Edmondson, Tristan McBride, and Sammy Zatney. For graphics, we have Isabel Jacook. For replay, we've got Dominic Tamborelli. Master controller in the first half, it was Hannah Forspring. In the second half, it was Ava Scavery. And production assistant is Alyssa Trefsker. So the Red Tornadoes aren't going to pick up the first down there, but again, you got to see it because of the hard work of the students we just named. And if you listen and you stay with us week in and week out, you'll hear some other names as well. Just a great program that Mr. McPhee and Mr. Trefsker run here to help the students in ways that will benefit them long after they've left Mount Carmel.
And Jim, another name to mention, as you know, we mentioned all the TV studio, the people the students that are putting this show on for you tonight. We got to see another Danny Velasquez, number 13, was in there offensively. He replaced Lukoski for that 4th down play. Now we'll see this Red Tornado defense again.
It's Turbo Ortiz. A nice he stays on his feet. He's going to come across the field. So he broke a couple tackles. Now we've got a few more changes here. So looks like number 50, is that 19, 20, 21 coming off the field, excuse me. Kimzel, Berezovsky, Spears. All right.
And I think we saw 48 check in there, Seth Barron, I believe. Yeah, he's at the far corner spot with Urbanavich, number 19, on this near corner.
So we'll get a motion penalty, and a false start that is against the Braves. So the clock will stop here for a second with 9.5 ticks left. Set the ball, wind the clock. Coach Freeman of the Braves wants them up on the ball to try to get one more snap here. It's going to be close. And they will. They'll get it off just in time. And it's going to be an Andrew Adams tackle in the backfield. That's how this one's going to end, on a nice play by number 31, Andrew Adams, as the Braves tried to hand it off to Elijah Fernandez. So it's been a good night for the Red Tornadoes. Perhaps didn't start quite the way they expected, but nevertheless ends with a 42-20 Mount Carmel victory.
Yeah, it's another great showing from the Red Tornadoes. You know, all across the board, had different guys kind of shuffling in and out of the game from the start. Something that we're not entirely used to seeing, but Coach Dara, a lot of confidence in guys all the way up and down the depth chart. We talk about it every week, and they performed tonight.
Yeah, so the Red Tornadoes, they score six touchdowns tonight. Spears throws 2, Marshalik throws 2, and Farinado and Blessing run for 1 apiece. So the Red Tornadoes, we get to say this, that nobody said this since 2008. The Red Tornadoes will move to 9-0 on the season.
Yeah. It's an impressive start.
Put themselves in quite a position for district playoffs. But again, like we said, the big one is next week with the Shamokin Indians. The Red Tornadoes will be back here for the annual Coal Bucket game. Meanwhile, Shikellamy, well, things don't get a whole lot simpler for the Braves, as they're going to be visited by the Southern Columbia Tigers next week.
And that'll be a tough one for the Braves. And as I'm trying to continue refreshing score stream, just waiting for the score to go from fourth quarter, or the timing to go from fourth quarter to final. But I'm still, it's being reported as Loyalsock ahead 36-35, and what a game that has to be up there in the northern tier at Troy.
And I'm watching our friend Jose. Looks like he's finishing up.
Yeah, he's working towards it, so we're going to have some stats here for you momentarily.
But really, I think as far, on the night, it's a great night here for the Red Tornadoes to come away with the victory. The scoring was opened up by Farinado, a 7-yard rush to make it 7-0, and then was welcomed back Cole Spears. He had a 10-yard touchdown pass to Schultz. And then the Braves kind of got involved. They ran the trick play, the halfback pass from Snyder to Packer for 62 yards to make it 13-7, and then took the lead 14-13 after a Schaefer Knights 90-yard touchdown run.
Right.
But from there, the Red Tornadoes would go on a bit of a run. Marshall would hit Verano from 26 yards out to make it 21-14. Blessing, tough run from 6 yards, 28-14. And then a pair of passes, one from Spears to Schultz from 27 yards out, and the following from the next from Marshalik to Farinado to make it 42-14. The Braves would sneak another one in there late, but the Red Tornadoes will still come out on top, 42-20. And I think we got some stats now from Jose, right, Dan?
Yes, we do. So thank you, Jose, for getting them to us quickly again this week. So the Red Tornadoes finish out 54 carries for 167 yards on the ground, 10 of 20 passing for 168 through the air. So I believe that's, if my math's correct, about 335 yards of total offense there. And 20 first downs to go along with the 42 points on the board. And then on the Shikellamy side, 22 rushes for 123 yards, 8 of 25 passing for 100 yards even, and 5 first downs for the Braves. So the Red Tornadoes really, as the Braves kind of held the advantage in the stat column at halftime, the Red Tornadoes flipped the script here just as they did on the scoreboard. They pulled away in the second half and finished out a pretty complete game.
Yeah, the Braves really counted well for themselves tonight, but again, nevertheless, the Red Tornadoes will come out 42-20, moving to 9-0 on the season. The Braves will fall to 1-8. And speaking of fall, it's starting to get a little cold here now that we're in the fall, Dan. So I think it seems like a good time to kind of wrap it up. So again, the Red Tornadoes 9-0. That will be the 887th victory in 130 years of Mount Carmel football. We're grateful you're a part of it. We appreciate your support. This WKMC TV broadcast tonight was sponsored by Winnie the Pooh Daycare and Preschool. We're going to get out of here. We'll call it a night. I'm Jim Lesko, and for Jose Gonzalo,
I'm Dan Lesko.
thanks and good night.
Go Red.